we're assuming that we're ready now because we had multiple technical difficulties to start. So we reach in and we started. This is a new venture. We call it RUM Shop Talk. I'm here with Stephan, Reis, Errol, Fabien,
just right.
Stephan, Mathison. Gentlemen, take it right where you left it off before they said action.
I was wondering, you can invite me to something named RUM Shop Talk. But I'm here because I have a sense that what we're talking bigger than and more important than the fact that we're in a rum shop.
I wonder how we have a show called RUM Shop Talk and we are no rum.
I was wondering.
That run across my mind. I come gears up.
Is the intention to drunken the viewers or yourself?
This show going and get big numbers. Watch and see. And if you are an agent for rum, please.
The main purpose here is to consume the alcohol and make each other comfortable. Make you comfortable so that you might say something that people are expecting you to say.
No, they have some people who really get drunk to talk. But
yes.
This crew don't really get drunk to talk.
Yeah, boy. Or should I hear the
pre-show.
The pre-show that was going on.
I mean, Satish have a lot of it videotaped here, and I guess we can get a bloopers reel at some point.
We could probably get that. Yes, Satish?
Yeah.
Make things happen, man. Like a loan from Republic. So, where we starting?
Well, I want to say a special thank you to Satish Ramsaran and David Welch, the technical team that put it together, and we're up and running. And
I don't like that though. You didn't hear the last thing they say.
Well,
They say Errol saved the day again. So I don't know what I'm getting two of them for. It's Errol. A man pull out a card and say Errol saved the day. No?
No, that card didn't work for the records.
It didn't work.
It didn't work. But I think he got a feeling of security.
Security.
Having it.
Yeah. So where we starting, fellas?
today we were having this conversation about how they convince us that there is a foreign exchange shortage in Trinidad. But when I walk in Massey stores, Peppercorn, Super Farm, Starlight Drugs, all the shelves packed, Payless, shelves packed. When I drive in, the first live video I ever did years ago was outside the port where they have those cars that come in there before moving down, right? Yeah. And as it emptied, it fall back. So it has millions of US dollars in foreign exchange. If all of those people don't have a problem getting foreign exchange, how is it that we have a foreign exchange problem?
But Phillip, you know, I don't understand where it has come from sometimes. They say they have a foreign exchange problem, and it does. It does. For us. It didn't say for everybody, you know. They didn't say the whole country have a foreign exchange shortage, you know. There's a foreign exchange shortage for some people.
Yeah. Why is that?
Well,
what is clear about that is that, you know, I had to go and line up in the bank to get 100 US a day if I want 100 US.
And you had to show them. You had to show them your reason. You had to show them evidence.
They could get millions.
And
now the government has done things, put certain things so that you can't even. It makes it more expensive, or the same as, just as expensive as buying it in Trinidad if you try to buy it online. So what they have done is really create an avenue for the rich to get richer.
To protect.
Or to protect them.
So it's protecting a retail class at the expense of the consumer.
Who buys things by the container load.
But that don't matter, but look at small businessmen. We have small businessmen who not in that circle.
No, I'm
complaining about the same foreign exchange shortage.
What I want to say is, if you look at the profit, if you buy a cell phone on Amazon, you might pay 200, 300 US for that phone. A private businessman might buy a container of this, and he might pay $20 for one, but he's selling it for more money than you will pay on Amazon. So think about the profit he's making on that. Offer your foreign exchange.
I was telling Errol, I have a lawyer partner who tell me he needed to buy a mirror for his German automobile that in Trinidad was nearly $5,000, and on Amazon is 45 US.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, just not right. But one of the issues is, what I keep asking, why do we have the TT dollar? It is like monopoly money, it only good in the game. If we don't have the cojones to tell people if you're buying goods and services from Trinidad, you have to buy it in TT. So they will have a TT reserve, then get rid of it.
What goods and services we selling them?
We have manufacturers who sell.
What?
We have SM Jalil, we
No,
have
but then
Solo,
you're not selling in any volume to justify anybody having a TT reserve.
Well, exactly. And if
So
you
let's
don't
be
want to
honest.
say, get it, or even when you're selling gas and oil, whatever, a little bit, you're saying you have to buy in TT dollars, then what is the point of the TT
They say
dollar?
sovereignty. They say sovereignty.
No.
What about the TT
no,
dollar?
it's hungry,
but it didn't worth anything.
worse than sovereignty, and a lack of sovereignty.
Yeah.
We paying through we nose to keep a currency that we cannot afford to have.
Yeah.
There are very few countries where the banks enjoy the size of a spread
Of the forex that
between
they-
the buying and the selling that the banks enjoy in Trinidad. I mean,
Forex.
I estimate it to be a 13% tax on everything in Trinidad is that we don't account for is the foreign exchange that you bought. Because if you bring in US, and I remember I got a check from Google and I went to the bank and it was a couple hundred US and I went to the bank and I said, could I get this in US? They said, of course. So they do the transaction, sign here please. And when I signed it, I realized the bank bought the Google check from me at $6 for one and sold me the US notes that I got at $6.71. So they made 71 cents on each US dollar. And I didn't realize that before the transaction was done. So I can't reverse the transaction now because the check done process.
You didn't have a US account.
Well, you
No.
know,
But people with US accounts telling me you ain't get it's not like a place where you could put US and when you go back you get back that US.
No, you could use
They
it,
tell
you
it
could spend in US.
Well,
You could spend in US outside.
I was kind of surprised when I read that the other day with the shortage of foreign exchange because
You can spend any amount in the US.
because for months now, right? For months now, people in the foreign used car industry been telling me for months, we can't get foreign exchange, right? And 2 months ago, I know one of the dealers real good. So 2 people contact me, who I know personally. They say, Stephan, you know anybody want foreign exchange to buy? I said, how much you have? One person had 6,000. The next person had 8,000. That's 14,000 US, right? So I make the call to the foreign news dealer because I know they always complaining they can't get no foreign exchange. So when I call him, I say, hey, I have some foreign exchange, I have some US dollars here, about $14,000. You interested? Yeah. Nah, it's alright, we getting through the bank now. There's a foreign news dealer who couldn't get all the time telling me that he turning down 14,000 US, saying that he getting through in the
No,
bank.
but I
no.
And now we have a shortage again.
And if there's
So I'm trying to
evidence,
understand.
if there's evidence of you doing what you just said you did,
That's a criminal act.
They're looking to lock you up, you know.
you are not a licensed forex trader.
You can't
You can't do
You can't
that.
sell US just.
You can sell US
You
just.
can't sell it just so.
I mean, people selling
but
on
people
black
buying
market
it.
for $8 and
Any
thing.
gyro place or Chinese new Chinese place and they have the little sign up.
Yeah.
You just have, you need to talk. You just rest the US and you come there and they sign your TT.
Right.
And 7 more you to on no discussion.
Yeah.
You just hold it up, put the mark on it, and hand you the TT and you go on your way.
But the only purpose, because when you look at the amount of foreign companies they have in Trinidad, when I say foreign companies, Subway, KFC, TGI Fridays,
Multinational.
Starbucks,
Yeah. All the franchise.
Cinnabon,
Foreign franchise.
Payless, all of these,
Mickey D's.
all of the Burger King, all of those have to remit foreign exchange royalties every month to the parent company.
You can't
When you say
send
that we have 65 KFC alone,
and if each of them send $5,000 at the end of the month, understand what we're talking about?
so where do
That's over 300,000.
okay, but they're not selling KFC chicken and chips for US.
No,
So where are they getting the US from?
from the bank.
But why are they getting US for something as non-essential as that? And you can't get when you try
It's
to
not
get
the item that non-essential and essential, you know. It's the people.
Exactly.
It's the essential people in the
That's right.
eyes of he who has the currency that getting it and the non-essential not
This is
getting
the
it.
place in the rum shop talk where you spoil yourself a stiff drink.
And which brings us to the point that, you know, we have grown up, we have been bred to think that we are a society about African and Indian and race and, you know, that kind of thing. That is not even a smell at the roti. This country is about class.
Classism problem, that's what we have.
You have a classism problem. So when you talk about in the airport, when you talk about in the airport as the chairman,
His employee,
okay,
Is the chairman of the airport.
Correction in the rum shop.
chairman of the airport authority, and you didn't hear that talk.
Yes. That's why I could say correction.
right.
He's the chairman of the airport authority, and he's the CEO of Vemco, which is the parent company or sister company of Prestige Holdings, which is the franchise holder for Starbucks.
Right.
So
And we wonder how Starbucks reaching the airport
In
in
the
the
airport.
atrium.
it is one of two things. It could only be one of two things: incestuous, nepotistic conflict of interest,
I don't like what you're suggesting.
or a happy coincidence.
Or he recused himself.
Nah.
65 times.
He could recuse himself. That is legitimate behavior in our country now. He recused himself.
That is a legitimate behavior under the PNM.
That's a normal thing. That's a normal
How
thing.
do you recuse yourself from a decision that doesn't even exist? The space where Starbucks is occupying
It's not
in
a
the
retail
airport
space.
is not earmarked for retail.
Correct is right.
Okay.
So for that conversation to come up, somebody in authority has to say, let's vary the purpose of the atrium. How do you recuse yourself?
No, but I could, in this paradigm, suggest it and then say, well, I know somebody will take it if you want it, and you know right now AA need all the money they could get. So, this is the name, but I will not be a part of the discussion for it. And recuse yourself. And when you come back, they went with the name you
But
proposed.
that you propose, yeah.
I went up there.
Because like I said, you leave your room, you know, but your influence didn't.
No, thank
Exactly.
you.
And so when they say they recuse themselves,
Nor did your influence.
you step out the room, but your influence still in the room.
Exactly.
Yes,
The video that Phillip did with the airport, I want to just draw a little point to that, right? You know, 1.3 million people in the country, right? Of the 1.3 million people that live in Trinidad and Tobago, how much you feel is passed through the airport on an annual basis? Maybe about 250,000?
Probably a little more. Let me go up.
Right.
Let me say 400.
And I will bet that the vast majority, at least 95 or 98% of them, never pay attention to that, which you pointed out. Because in my mind, if you come into an airport in Trinidad and Tobago, the first thing you're supposed to meet
Localness.
is local culture.
Osman,
It's the culture.
But, boss, but,
the culture of the country.
but exactly. And
Steel pan.
But I was saying to somebody
know?
today, it backwards. Because where that local food court is, you could have made a nice food court for Subway and KFC and Cinnabon and McDonald's there. Because for the people who already know it, they're stepping off, hey, where's the KFC, man?
They'll go.
You can even put up signs,
Yeah.
KFC this way. But when you come off the plane, you must bounce up oil down and doubles and shark and
Kalori
kalori. This is because when you're talking that you want to play in the tourism game. When you're in our airport, it is so sterile. They don't have nobody dressed up in little
You have a
Trinidadian.
sense of a place in the world where you are. There's no
exactly.
sense of where you are.
Yeah,
It's
you have
just
no right
this
anywhere.
metropolitan
Yeah.
carbon copy of an airport.
Exactly.
It's not in
My
the
partner
Caribbean.
Moy tell me today on the phone. I'm talking to Moy and he tell me. He say a fella come to Trinidad and he know to do business and then and he say they're showing him all the different villas he can rent in Tobago, and he scrolling and scrolling and scrolling till he find the most backwater looking thing, and he tell Moy, he say, watch that. All them fancy thing they're trying to sell me. I live in New York. I have that in New York.
Better than that.
I want to come here and see iguana cats paddle on my balcony.
Thank you.
Tarantula in the bathroom. You'll be able to take a picture and say, look who's sharing the room with me. Because you're on
And what Slave
holiday.
said,
You see, the problem is, right?
You're on holiday in the tropics.
and Errol
You're
can
not
speak to this.
supposed to be able to take a picture with with aluminum walls. You just leave all that behind. So when you're talking about the airport, when you look at our airport, if there is nothing inside there, culturally for Trinidad and Tobago, you would know that's Trinidad and Tobago.
Right.
But this is the problem. This is the problem.
That's exactly.
Errol can speak to this because, all right, Errol can give us a little depth to this, right? A little more in depth. Culture for Trinidadians, right? This generation of Trinidadians is Carnival Monday and Tuesday, Feds leading up to Carnival, soca music, bikini mass, beads, wine jam,
Easter
Juve
weekend.
Fed, Easter week, right? But that is why they don't notice that they have a Starbucks in the airport where it is, because they're not culturally sensitive. They don't even understand the history of the culture. You understand what I'm saying?
Exactly.
They don't understand it.
Osman,
So
But it's not taught.
years ago I read an
They can't
article,
because
Errol.
it's not
It's not taught,
Our
right,
history is
exactly.
not
Years
taught
ago I read an
us.
article by
Yeah.
Pearl Antu Springer, and it was like a cuff in the face. She say, we build buildings to block our view of the sea. This is an island.
Thank you.
Exactly.
We have now. I was watching Andrew Zimmerman on one of these Destinations Unknown shows, and they were doing this place off the coast of Africa in the Indian Ocean called Mauritius. Mauritius had 1.2 million people, just like Trinidad. That most of their history was based on African and Indian slavery,
Right.
30%, and then the other 30% mix up,
Right.
and that they get their independence about a year after us. When you see Mauritius, it's like Trinidad Part 2. I swear to you, go on and I want to go there,
Right.
but it's like a country that works where it's like looking at Trinidad if we didn't have the
What it's supposed
madness
to be.
of
At Trinidad, what is supposed to
yeah.
be?
just on the arriving. You say when they come
Right.
to the airport, it's like okay. Let me talk a little bit about. Let me just mention Tobago in this.
Right.
When you land in Tobago, you feel like you're in a different island.
No. I've
And Tobago is a rich
Yeah.
historical, cultural
Exactly.
society.
what's that?
They take a lot of pride in
You
that.
want to be in tourism, right? You want to sell and spend all this money. Tell me, it may sound like a joke, right? But when you're going to come to Trinidad, you should pull up to a plane that have neon under it. You understand? Hard pound.
pimp out.
You should have hard pound coming from in the back. And I'm not,
Soul plane.
I'm not joking. Listen, the cockpit,
the
cockpit
announcement.
dashboard, the cockpit dashboard should have full.
I might
The
run a
flight
flower on the
attendant
wing.
and safety announcement should be next tempo. You understand?
Brilliant.
You're like, gee, what's that?
Brilliant.
People starting to
Brilliant.
take, watch me, the most advertising you will ever get, 1,000,000 times more than your tourism company could get you, is people on the plane saying,
Okay.
nah, you ought to check this
Yeah,
out.
and sending
See that?
social
It's gone
media.
viral. That, and he's sending that viral in his circles. His friends want to come and experience that. He say, I wanna play in the wheels as low riders, partner. You wanna check this out. You wanna come and check this out. These people serious.
And the pilot, the Snoop Doggy.
But even when you're flying, okay, when you're flying.
Well, I say when you land in Trinidad, you must come down the slide.
What is he? What
You
like,
mustn't even have stairs.
But was he entertainment on Caribbean Airlines? Like what? I mean, I've been on a Caribbean Airlines flight for a while.
They have a what you call Wi-Fi on board where you could tap into their video pool. But it's a lot of blockbuster movies and them kind of
Nothing
things.
local.
And nothing local, but not enough.
Not enough.
Not enough.
But when they're telling you that they want to get local content, but you don't create avenues for your
For
local
it,
content.
yeah.
And this is the point. People saying, if you want to sell your doubles, go and sell your doubles next to Starbucks. That's not the point. The reason Starbucks, you're talking culture, the reason American blockbuster culture exists is because America invests in promoting their blockbuster culture. America wants to sell to the world the idea that this is how you want to live. And if you want to live well, come and live in America or buy from America. And that is using culture for economic domination. And that's what they're doing.
But if you don't know yourself and you don't believe in what you have, you will swallow that. You understand? If I know myself and I understand that I am a Caribbean airline and no knock against Cal, and I decide I'm putting Caribbean content on. You see, there's a fear that my multinational travelers may not appreciate this. But if we're not serving it to them, they cannot develop a taste
Taste
for
for
it.
it.
Exactly.
So we have to put our
But I'm
content there.
saying again,
Put our movies, put our features, put our shows.
tourism. What you taking pictures of and selling to people abroad, that you sending to your friends, is things that you never see
That
before.
not there, that they don't know.
I never see this before. You have to see this, but I think it's a kind of insecurity.
But what do people
Yeah, it
come to
is.
Trinidad for?
It is.
What?
It is as a
Before you
result
go
of
to there,
taking
before you
absolute
go to
realism.
there.
Why Trinidad? And Tobago?
Before you
Why?
go to there, the reason,
Why
I'm,
go to Trinidad?
and I'm glad you pick up on it, is an insecurity where he just asked, who are we? We have no national identity. So if you asking me what we go to Trinidad for, we don't know. And if we don't know,
We don't know.
and we from here,
Who gonna know?
Who will know?
if we don't know what it means to be a Trinbagonian, we can't have that conversation. We still Trinidad and Tobago. We still, and it's years, it's
We
decades.
still African and Indian.
No, but it's
We still
decades since
1%
I saw we
Chinese.
talking about Trinbago.
We still, you know?
And if we ever wanted there to really be a united Trinidad and Tobago, it should have lost that ampersand a long time ago. We changed to 868. 868 wasn't always our code. Remember, it was 809. The whole Caribbean was 809.
Yes.
The whole Caribbean was 809, and then when they realized in the
get their
70s
push. Yeah.
that the amount of numbers was going to exceed the ability of 809, everybody's got their own, and we picked TNT, we picked 868. That wasn't arbitrary.
Okay.
So the fact that we could change the code, and for years you could have sent it, you could have called either 809 or 868 and still get you on the call, so that it was possible to do it. When we changed Diamond Vale Boulevard to Wendy Fitzwilliam Boulevard, TT Post still know where the letter going.
Yeah.
So Trinidad and Tobago to Trinbago wasn't a big step to make. We have no interest in arriving at a cohesive Trinbagonian culture because it doesn't serve those who operate in the political class to their benefit.
Correct.
And it's not that it doesn't exist, but it is stifled. We have a unique culture in Trinidad and Tobago. And Trinis, yeah, the thing, to support what I was talking about before, when we land in New York and they pick we up, the kind we wait at the best roti and the best, but I don't want that. I
just traveled from that.
I know that you
Exactly.
can't no best pala or no best no current
Exactly.
roll here. I don't want that. I now leave that home. Give me what New York have, and the same thing happens.
You watch
on the other
Tambourine.
way.
You watch Chris Rock Tambourine Man. Chris Rock have a show. Go on Netflix and watch Tambourine Man, because a section of Tambourine Man, he talk about when you touch down in Jamaica. Chris Rock say, and they pick you up in the van, and you drive in. And he say, the Shamarang's fighting with a dog. He say, the people in the van, they're terrified. He say, and then you reach into the resort. What's up, man? And they hand you a pina colada. And you forget all the madness
Just see on the road.
you
That's
just
on the road.
see between the airport and the resort. But in that segment of Tambourine Man, he made it interesting that I want to go to Jamaica. I want to see that myself.
Yeah.
These are the things these are the conversations that we have to have. Trinidad and Tobago, the confusion in this conversation is, if we don't know who we are, if our buses, the bus on the road should look like it is a Trinidad and Tobago bus.
Like it on
That
an
red, white
island
and
at
black
least.
swirl thing that they have.
Should look like that.
Like that truck passing. You're gonna see that truck passing.
Yeah.
But things like that, because and we're supposed to be able to go on the beach and sit down on a savannah bench in Tong, Brian Lara Promenade should have the sea lapping there. We could
It used
do
to,
that.
you know.
It used to in the
That
1900s.
was Marine Square. The beach was
Marine
there.
Square, yeah.
And we take back the land and push back the sea. That jetty, that St. Vincent jetty down there was well out in the water.
The point
That is on Reis
the
Road
point
now.
is we've been bred all from growing up. All the young people going to school now, we've been bred to think that we are a colony of the U.S. You know,
Yeah.
it's a kind
There's a
of
plenty to do with it too, eh?
yeah, everything. So you was correct when you said that America sells America.
That's what it's for.
We don't sell. We trying to sell America.
Bruce Willis in
and
Die
we ain't selling
Hard.
that.
Bruce
We
Willis
don't
in
know.
Die Hard
No,
is
because-
selling American culture.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what he is selling.
Exactly.
If you look at
So-
who the good guy and who the bad guy and all the, how they phrase their narrative, it is always about John Wayne. Ronald Reagan won elections because of John Wayne. You could follow the history and the path of those people, but where is it in Trinidad? In Trinidad, and you keep touching on it, and you're right. Somebody sent me this thing today. They say they have us fighting culture wars, so we don't remember that there is a class war. And that class war is what is pressing the
Consuming us.
people.
It is consuming
Exactly.
us.
Yeah.
So around election time, when they want to galvanize the Africans and the Indians, they start creating situations that sound like race.
It's,
But we have no race problem.
Slave
We have no
master,
race problem.
Camila and
Yeah.
Sushila.
Sushila and all kinds
That's
of
how we
nonsense.
say it in the video. Sushila and Camille.
No, but that wouldn't do us. That wouldn't do us.
That's what it was.
They framed the whole narrative, and for 2 days, the country was stupid. The country was stupid because we take that chain up. Now, I want to say this, and I'd ask Errol.
when you listen to the kikes, the PNM kikes, you hear they talking one thing. They don't even understand where the name come from. Most
But
of
a
them.
man
But
resurrect
boss man,
Kunta
if-
Kinte.
and
A
that-
man resurrect Kunta Kinte.
And I want to ask you, you wasn't here.
Old
You
stuff.
wasn't here. I want to ask you this. If Keith Rowley is awoke enough to know that they beat Kunta Kinte till he accept his name as Toby, why hasn't Keith Rowley changed his name back?
Exactly.
If you want to, if you making a point, because he say tell Sushila, but you see, and I want to
You
say
saw him
this.
stand up. You saw him stand up, and he put his stand up next to the president, the U.S. president. Or you look hung up, want to be around.
look like
Sometimes
he look like a cracker.
it really amazes me.
Yeah, but you see-
These guys,
You're wrong,
these
you're
guys.
We
They
can't,
was Phillip, you know. They changed them to Phillip.
It really amazes me, boy. These guys.
we can't get
really-
caught up in that either or. Because we were saying that earlier, that is the little box they want us in. That is the culture war. That is the race war.
trap us right.
When David Rudder say how we vote is not how we party, the first time that dawned on me, what he said is that we are so stupid that we love each other enough that we party together.
Let me jollificate and with one.
Yeah. You know, somebody raised a point on that same issue, right? And I had to put this forward to them. I remember somebody calling to the program and they say, but Stephan, Camille out of place. She can't step in Kamla's shoes. Kamla is far superior to Camille Robinson Regis. And I said, well, if that is the case, why respond? Why respond? If you know intellectually and every other way, you're superior to the person that make the comment
No, but-
or try to make fun of
Boss
you.
man.
Just don't respond.
But you see, that should never
you
been.
just go on-
But Stephan, that should have never been the conversation. When I went up
But
in
the
the
gas on the
airport,
fire is what they're looking for.
when I
It's
went
what
up,
they're causing.
when I went up in the airport, and I showed them that, I said, "Why you fighting Sushila and Camille? Sushila and Camille. Look what you get.
Look
The
what they
people,
do.
the people who don't care about them thing, making all
The money.
While you doing
While
that.
you
What?
talk,
Like
all
the-
sorts of nonsense.
Like the two wildebeest
Yeah,
or whatever it was that locked in the horns and the lion coming from 100 miles away. He said, I eating one of them today because they're so stupid.
fighting
They
one
so-
another.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And neither one of them two said, hey, a lion coming. You're trying to trick me. I staying here with you, but we right now.
Yeah. Look, I think as you mentioned, I can't remember if it was Phillip mentioned this in our conversation, but I think you had raised the point, what the 1% thing about long weekends? Was it you?
No,
Not you. It was somebody who was talking to me about it and they asked me the question.
must
I said,
be don't like that
I
at
said,
all.
I don't know. I
must
said, well,
be
you
don't
ever
like that
realize
weekend at
the
all.
working classes look forward to a long weekend, but the 1%, they walk in still. They don't care about holiday. Holiday not no profit for them.
Yeah,
but we glad for it.
Yeah.
You understand?
it
We
ha-
glad
it
for it.
ha
We glad for
profit-
the relaxation. But
It
they're not
have
relaxing.
profit in them. The water park in Long Shagamas.
Yeah.
I sure they
They
sold out
walk in.
tomorrow.
They walk in.
Rain, sun or storm, they sold out tomorrow.
They walk in.
At
No business.
the risk of going
Holiday.
back on a topic, right?
No, wait, before you, I
Next
just want to
part
say
of the
this, just to
culture.
close this, because
Holiday
talking about the
addiction.
sea and the beach and the lapping. My partner, he just called himself Cola from Aruka.
Yeah.
No, he's not from Aruka. He's a big shot from Bayshore. But he just called himself Cola from Aruka. And he tell me, the most expanse of beach in Chagaramas that the natives used to enjoy.
But it's taken away
You
from them.
close the beach and you give them an American water park and charge them to come in and slide in the water.
Yeah. Craziness.
And we in Trinidad, I hear them
No,
talk about
let
Eric
that slide.
Williams march for Shagaramas.
And we sit down and
This is
take
what he
that.
march for?
Yeah. We sit down and take
Listen.
that.
Errol,
We
you was
sit
going
down
to say
taking
something just about
everything.
this. What
We
you
take
say,
that
Errol?
away.
We sit down and
You
take
think that
that.
alone is everything?
Yeah,
We
we
sit
sit
down
down
and
and
take.
take that. We sitting down and taking that
I
normal.
was about to say that there is a process, a system called dollarization, that you can adopt another currency. It's negotiated and so on, of course. When you go Panama, is there a Panama dollar?
I don't know.
You spend US.
US.
You spend US. When you go to the British Virgin Islands, you spend in pound, shilling, and pence. You spend in US. You understand? And we have a currency in the Caribbean that has proven over the time and time and time that is a solid, well-managed currency, the EC dollar.
EC dollar.
Why are we not? You don't. If you want to nail up your TT dollar,
If
keep your
you,
TT dollar. You can spend that
if you
to currency
controlling
that
the
country.
politicians and
Yeah.
making the decisions, you making the decisions.
Yeah.
And if you are benefiting from the status quo, because make no mistake, if the people who was pulling the strings and whoever in government wasn't benefiting, we done
We
change
got that
already.
change already.
It is us on the ground and it is the mass of people, and this again, the mass of people, you just said, we do not focus on any of the important issues. So we will pay that
we also
13%
have an
tax.
obligation to contribute to a currency in the region being a powerful world currency as the EC is. Why we could contribute to that in a serious way by adopting the EC, by dollarizing and joining that.
Errol,
You understand?
we're talking too much sense. I remember when,
It's about two is closer to.
no, but I remember when people used to say, when we talking, unite the Caribbean. People say, nah, for all them Guyanese and Bajan and Jamaican that come here and look for we work. Now look at how the thing turn. Jamaica, flying high. Barbados has become the world standard. Mia Motley has
She sit too bad.
elevated Barbados to the intellectual elite of the world. People are looking to Bajans to guide us. Guyana is the Dubai of the Western world now.
Soon
Which
to
we
be.
should have been.
Soon to be.
Which we should have been.
Soon to be.
Bossman, you can't undo that money that
Yeah,
comes.
yeah, we're not-
You can't do that. That money coming.
Yeah, that's
And
coming.
Trinidad,
Hustlers.
look at Trinidad,
Hustlers.
fighting to say, we get an attorney general who come to say his main mission is the CCJ. Before he finished talk, he fall from grace. He might be charged for perjury in the United States. But I've been trying to say, we are not mature as a nation to be contributing to anything like a Caribbean Court of Justice. The Privy Council overturns so many of our decisions. You pay attention to that? The Chief Justice and the Attorney General, both of them, have been petitioned by the Law Association to be fired. Those two position holders could end up on our Caribbean Court of Justice. Trinidad and Tobago is not ready for anything
But
anymore.
see, I believe in the CCJ, you know, because the justices must not come from one jurisdiction alone, and they don't. Right now, the Commonwealth of Dominica, the CCJ is their final appellate court, the final place. Barbados move into that. As soon as they become republic, they look to the CCJ because they want to forge their way there. And the CCJ headquartered here. It's not, if we can't push the justices of the region to that level of accountability and that level of trust, then
Errol,
you see, even
you watch how
It's
the
a trust issue, eh?
you watch how
More
the
than
you
anything
watch how
else,
the
eh?
Speaker of
It's a
the
trust
House.
issue.
yeah,
It's a
You watch
trust
how
issue.
the Speaker of the House operates in Trinidad.
yeah, but
You watch how the President said, no, I'm just saying, those are the
they
highest.
are not examples for us to use.
But if we can
when
mature,
looking
if we
at
can
the
mature,
other
if we
institution
can
like the
mature,
CCJ.
The process and the selection of the two office holders I just talk about, right? The process for to select a Speaker of the House and the President and
Is
things
that-
like
It's an
that.
appointment.
Is an
It's
appointment.
an
It's a political appointment,
Yeah, it's a
right?
political
As opposed to
appointment.
the CCJ. So I wouldn't compare the two. I
No,
don't
no.
agree. I say keep the Privy Council.
Right.
And I sure if I ask Reginald Armour how much time he lose in the local courts down here and he went to the Privy Council and he get the matter overturned
But there
in
was
his
a-
favor, he would probably say a good few
Errol,
cases as well.
Errol,
Fair enough,
Errol,
fair enough.
You know what's the conundrum? Everything that you are saying is fact, and we should all agree on that.
It's trust.
But our experience and what he's saying is a fact. And 17% of the people in a poll was for the CCJ. In Trinidad,
I see that, but I just
but in Trinidad, you talk about Dominica and other countries where I don't know how their systems work, but I live in a country where nothing works.
And corruption rampant.
I live in a country where no matter what uniform you put on, it could be a street sweeper or a judge's robes. I cannot accept yet that we are mature enough. In the Privy Council, people's names, their reputation, those things matter more than
Yes.
money.
of course.
I will not. Well, then I make my point. But then I make my
but
point.
there
is
are
that-
people like that among us.
I think it have
our-
UK judges
our-
in the,
our
on CCJ as well, eh?
society,
Well, yeah, we could.
I think it have-
That is the
I-
thing.
our
We could
society, our
widen-
society
see,
is not like that.
But we
But-
could widen
but-
the selection process for the justices there
But, you
and
know-
include a UK justice.
No,
or
I think
a US
it
justice
have.
or whatever it is,
I
because we're
think
still in the
the
Commonwealth.
CCJ has either one or two UK
Justices
sitting on the CCJ.
Why
that
they
is a
not,
Caribbean
why they
thing,
not
you know,
encouraging
you have judges from
a national debate on it? Because you see, and I want to say this to you, they have things that I am concerned about. Like, how do you make a complaint about the performance of office holders in the judiciary in Trinidad? How do you complain when you realize that the process is always about you at risk? You have to appeal, and you at risk for money, and you could get costs ruled against you. And if you, and it's not just my lawyer's 10,000, because you might be appealing somebody who is coming with 5 senior counsel,
Right.
and their bill is $450,000.
all right, that's a big
In
part
no-
That have
of the
nothing to
problem.
do with the law.
The boss man, in
Yeah.
no other situation that I am aware of, in no other industry that I am aware of, do you complain on somebody at risk to yourself losing further? And those things,
Except
and
at
those,
the appeal court level.
those things I am concerned about. I do not think that our justice system is about justice. I don't even think it's about right and wrong. I think it's about winning and losing. And in many cases,
In law, that's what it
winning,
is.
but in many cases in Trinidad, winning and losing comes down to who could afford more.
In
And it's
most
a
Then it comes down to
jurisdictions,
class.
in
It
most
come back to class.
jurisdictions, Phillip, it don't matter where in the world you are, if you
come
are the
back to
big
class.
shot lawyers, chances are you're going to be the person who want to represent yourself or have a small shot lawyer.
So then how is that a justice system?
But that is the system. If we're talking about changing the system, I'm ready to have that
Then,
conversation.
but it doesn't have
too.
to, you don't have to jettison the whole system. All I'm saying to you is, until we are ready to have a conversation where we could admit, okay, this is not what we wanted. We want justice.
We want justice.
Solomon. I remember somebody saying, 2 women fighting for the last seat on the bus, and the driver say, "Oh gosh, let the ugly one take it."
Two of them stand
Nobody
up.
know what it is.
Two of them stand up.
Two of them stand up.
But you see the problem? Okay.
You understand what I'm
Here my
saying?
thing. If you want to move to the CCJ, before you could do that, right? You had to fix certain things in the country first. You have certain things that had to fix before you could say, listen,
Why are
last
we
court
limiting the
CCJ.
CCJ to this country?
Boss,
Until-
and I hear what
So-
you're saying. No, what he's
CCJ
saying
is not a
what
Trinidad
he's
and
saying is a
Tobago
fact, but-
institution.
But
No,
in-
I understand.
Errol, are the rest of the Caribbean islands as manifestly dysfunctional as we are?
As Trinidad and Tobago.
In different ways.
As manifestly. Okay,
I would say no.
I wanna-
I live in the
Not at
I
Caribbean,
have
and
ne-
I will say no.
Not
I'm
at the
not.
bureaucratic level as
I
we
made
do.
a statement 10 years ago, nothing to work in Trinidad and Tobago. And for the past 10 years, people have been trying to argue with the point.
But nothing no work for poor people. Nothing no work
Come back to class.
No,
It
no,
come
no,
back
no,
to
no,
class.
nothing
It
no
come
work
back
for
to
the
class.
That's
so
not
it comes
true.
back to that. But
Plenty things does work in Trinidad and
Show
Tobago.
them.
Eureka does work. Eureka does work. I sure if you
They
pull
already
out
did
your,
for a while.
I sure if you pull out your wallet now, you have a driver's permit. in
Boss
it.
man,
as dysfunctional
I read
as
in the
licensing
papers,
is,
I read in
people
the
have permits
papers
in the
that the
pocket.
mayor,
I quickly says to
I
it.
read in the papers that they thief the gate to Lord Harris Square. And the mayor is appealing to the police, help us find the gate. And I am asking myself,
That's
you
wrong.
appealing to the police to find a gate? They thief Lord Harris himself. The
I don't
statue
mind that. I don't
around-
mind Harris getting teeth.
Nobody thief wherever.
Yeah.
But somebody in
Ryan
somebody
scrap iron, or battery
in
buying.
somebody house.
Big business. That
Buying
is the
scrap
business right
iron,
now.
or
I want
battery
to ask
buying.
the gate.
TSTT cable.
But in somebody
Pulling that
house
down,
in
they go
Trinidad,
Have
in
Lord
some-
Harris.
Lord Harris started.
Steven win.
And people going to eat and say, this
No,
where
but-
Lord Harris end up. Use a big shot.
It's how we view it, because let me tell you, in all of our hospitals, I'm sure I could get about 50 people every day who could tell you how horrible the service
Let me
is.
give you
there.
one.
But
We know what?
it have
A woman is messaging me
200,
yesterday
but it have
that
200
her
who
husband
went in
got a
and get
stroke.
through and gone
Okay,
home.
but he got a stroke. You see, the measure can't be who get through.
Right.
That is the purpose of the hospital. The ones that fail, that is life and death. A woman's husband.
I understand
He
that.
may be dead now. He went to get stent. What was
Yes.
stent? Put in his heart and
Thing,
clear out
yeah.
the thing. The system down. There's nobody. All the people who there for heart thing.
I agree.
In trouble. She messaged me last night. I said, how can I help? She said, I don't know. We were trying to get him out to put him in a private hospital. The man get a stroke. Watch me.
I agree,
You cannot.
Phillip.
Chris Rock, my boy, yeah.
That's your point,
Chris
my
Rock.
friend.
I'm a go-to man. Chris Rock say, you can't tell me that you will accept most of our planes make it on where it's going. You're not getting on a plane. You have to believe all going where they're going.
But
That's
you're,
not a
you're going
record.
on the Max though. You're going on the 737 Max though. And you're going to fly on it?
Boss, I telling you.
Look out there right now, Phillip. Look outside there right now, everybody. Our streets, our drains clogged with garbage. Are they? You seeing garbage clogging up the drains? It have some cut grass there.
Rainfall
grass
and wash
clog-
away the garbage.
Well, if rain do it, but generally, I think things in Trinidad will, but we expect better and we deserve better and we should be getting better.
When you consider the taxes we pay, when you consider how much we pay individually for it, whether we working or not, the money when we consume
You're not
things,
getting the money's
the money we spend on taxes, we not getting the word
No,
for
we're
it.
not.
Errol
We
Just
Fabien-
deserve better.
Errol
We
Fabien
demand
And when you
better.
look- and when you look
has
at-
a loving heart,
and when you look
and
at-
he looks at the world through the eyes of a person with a loving heart. I, unfortunately,
You don't have a loving heart.
I become cynical.
Yes,
I have
sir.
seen so much, Stephan. I have seen so much wrong in this.
When you consider,
Access on this. Police pulling you over. Police pull over a man that was on his way to the hospital and kill him. They say, but that wasn't real police. But if police pulling you over, what
You
are
have
you
to
gonna
stop.
do?
You have to stop.
Show me ID. You can't do that. You
I
can't.
understand that, and Phillip,
But-
I want better.
But you
we
can't just say
deserve
you understand
better.
people dying in the hospital, fake police.
But people dying in the hospital everywhere in the world.
Not like
Not
here.
for the same reasons, but I demand better. We deserve better. Our administration, I think, is disastrous at best. But I believe in the people who just wake up in the morning and go to work.
Agreed.
They just go to work and they just work.
Agreed.
They don't get paid enough.
but
Agreed.
They don't
working-
get treated well
the
enough.
working-
All those
I
points.
believe in the
The working-
all those points.
Errol,
But that's
2%
the
for 8
working-
years,
the
2% for
working-
8 years.
You
Going
know,
once, going
that's
twice, 2% for 8
ridiculous.
They're
years.
working
So you
with the
don't get 2%.
system. They're working with the
1% twice,
system.
eh? 1% twice.
Mr. Mathison.
Yes.
They're working
sorry.
with the system that is provided to them. I was having a conversation with a friend the other day, and we were talking about the PNM and UNC. And I believe,
You're thinking about that party.
yeah, I believe that two group, that two political organizations that ran this country from our birth, I think they have been able to take us to that point. We reach diminishing return right now.
Yeah.
And we need
New blood.
new blood, a new breed of people.
But explain to people
Yes, no,
what
to take us
diminishing returns
to
mean.
take us to the next level. They
course.
take us to where they can't go anymore. They can't go any further. They can't think.
They can't do
the
better.
thinking capacity it way past what we need is way past what they
Well,
could
somebody
think.
need to tell them.
Boss
Because
man,
you have
explain
but
to
the thing is-
people who hear you say
Diminishing
all we can
returns.
expect is diminishing returns. Explain to them what that means.
So what
that every time you open the box of KFC,
You get
without
less.
you eating it, they have less fries and less chicken.
Exactly.
Every time you look away and you look
Exactly.
back, it have less.
Exactly.
Tell the box empty. Tell them that is what you mean.
And the problem with that is that for some reason when election time come around, this kind of time, you see roads, you see people running helter-skelter trying to do things to convince the masses that
That are the best thing
because
for
they
you.
know because they know for the 8 months you have been suffering, right? You will forget that. They know that's the culture we dealing with.
Just
fact,
like
they understand before
just
election
like,
that to make
just like
you
you arrive in the
suffer
van in
before the
Jamaica, you're rich. They give you a
You honestly,
pina colada.
Chris Rock place. Chris Rock said,
You forget all you see.
he said the people on the side of the road, watch.
Trinidad.
First time they see a car. No, it's unfair. You know, his description, right? No, but me, he said, you see Shabarangs fighting with a dog.
How? Okay, let me ask you something. You mentioned the work, the paving of the road, and all the little things that do lead up to the election, right? Since I small,
That's what they're doing.
That's what they're doing.
I born in '77. But
Listen.
since I small, that's what they're doing.
Listen,
And since I small,
a
people
famous
speak all the
Californian-
same.
Born in 60 and
A
since I small down.
famous Californian song.
So-
You're my pig.
When we go learn?
Doggy, look at bone.
Yeah.
Doggy, look at
When
bone.
we
After
go
election,
when we
bone.
go
When we go
That's exactly what
If
you're
you
talking
smell
about.
it-
It happens still.
If you smell paint, it's Christmas. If you smell pitch, it's elections. I
That's
tell you
right. That's right. It's a fact.
Right? But the thing is,
Somebody,
we
you know, somebody tell me the other day.
about
Somebody tell me the other day because about talk PNM, about talk UNC. They didn't like what about talk UNC, right? Because you know my viewers anti PNM. Plenty of them.
Not at all.
Plenty of
I'm
them.
telling you, your viewers right now, anti-party in power. And if it was
But yeah,
UNC in power,
The anti
They would have been right. But my point is this, right? So I make my statement and think, "Put send me one long message. I don't like how you talk there, you know, because you know UNC does do so much for people when they're in power." I said, but yeah, both of them thief same way. Both of them will touch the treasury the same way.
No.
But-
PNM is such a different.
But PNM does touch it. Listen,
PNM is touching
PNM
it.
does
You know
touch
they're touching
it.
it.
Right. PNM does touch it under the table,
You know
sir.
they're touching it.
PNM,
But they're
right?
touching it.
Right. PNM touch it. No, what's
They
it?
make the game.
Watch me.
They created the
They just
game.
play a long
Listen.
game, eh, boy?
Listen,
Yeah.
Foster and Clarence playing footsie under the table here.
Bossman,
UNC
Bossman, when you could
is over
play,
the table in your face.
when you could play a
Yeah,
game
game.
where you vacate a board and put a new board, so people think that is the conversation.
Yeah.
Want to the board, you bring a new board, forget that. But UNO, that's not the play.
That is not the play.
The purpose of that board is the play, and you
Exactly.
don't know. And
It
Trinidad,
have a man with a string.
Right, but here the point, eh?
That's why they just put certain people as board chairman and thing.
So the person turn and tell
because
me-
they're bright.
but
Yeah,
we was
yeah,
talking
but
about
wait,
before
yeah.
you came.
Hold on.
There are some people that you wouldn't expect to leave. You make it $150,000, $200,000 a month in private sector, and you go and sit down on state board for $1,500, $2,000 stipend. That's not
that's
what
not
you're
the
there
purpose.
for.
That's
Exactly.
the purpose of it.
That's not what you're there for. You're there to seek the company's interest.
Interests.
And
But
who's the company? The
Corporations.
politicians.
But let me tell you the problem. The problem is the person didn't like what I said. And the response was, we have to vote for the lesser of the two evils. And my response to them, the fact that both could be described as evil,
We
and
can't-
you're still willing to vote for one of them,
Something wrong with
something
you.
wrong with you.
Something wrong with you.
And you know, it's
have to
time,
move
guys.
faster.
And I think
And they say-
I want to table this very seriously. It's time we get to the program and stop saying it's two parties. It's
Correct.
one party with two names.
Yes.
Them
Two
is the
heads.
same
Is that two
people.
heads
What is
snake?
it?
Is that two
Them
heads
is
snake?
What
the
is it?
same people.
What is
It's just
it?
they have two different names.
Yeah.
You went up and
Same
those
day,
other
different
times.
shirt.
3 times.
3 times as an
3
independent.
times. That's right.
Nobody didn't tell you okay, win as an independent.
Everybody.
You had to join either the Reis party or
Everybody
the
tell me
Yellow
what
party.
you say. We love your
and
joint
I
party.
didn't want to interrupt you when he said what he said just now. And that is the same people who will call you and tell you about lesser evil nonsense, will tell you, well, it's a two-party thing.
It's a two-party, yeah.
You see, that's the self-fulfilling nonsense and the foolishness that prevents people from opening their minds and entertaining the fact that, listen, I have to vote. Let me not vote for something evil now.
Well,
Because-
before we started here, we were talking about the Willoughby syndrome. and let me tell
Explain it to them.
you, the Willoughby syndrome you know, a lion will be hunting a herd of wildebeest.
100 million wildebeest.
Any one of them could kick
4
down a lion.
lions, but
Any one of them could kick down a lion and kill it.
One kick.
But one of them will get caught, and all the rest of them will stand. They will stop, and they will stand around and watch that.
When he was talking this, we say, yeah, boy. William get hold.
Yeah?
You sure that man take that bite?
Me and William was lying in
But
there.
that's that Trini you're talking about, boy. That's that Trini. That's how we don't think.
And what's
Poor
that?
fella.
And they have a wake, eh?
Go to the biggest way.
That Trini.
Real rum go drinking that way. boy.
What?
It's sad. It's
No, but
sad. It's just sad.
that's what it is.
And it comes down to when I talk about diminishing return and the politics, it really comes down to critical thinking. Eh? We had to start to think. A lot of people don't know. Some people think, well, I'm working for $3,000 a month. I'm not paying no tax. You're paying tax. When a man could buy a Mercedes Benz for $2 million and pay $400,000, that is taxes could have gone to supplement what you paying on your $3,000. That's
And they
money
sell it
you
back.
could have paid.
You're talking about the men with the tax exemption?
The man with the tax exemption.
And then they're selling it back.
And then they're
But they go
selling
drive
it
it for
back
about
3
a
years
year or
after.
two and they go sell it back for the same 4 million
You
that was
understand?
worth and get
So-
full money.
And get
money
full
them
money.
fellas
That's
want,
that's not corruption. That's
How
not
much money they
corruption.
want?
Huh?
You
So you buy a
said
Mercedes Benz for $2 million. You pay $400,000 for it.
you shouldn't be allowed to sell it for a profit. You shouldn't be allowed to sell it for a profit.
The state lose $1.6 million.
If you sell it for more than $400,000, the extra money should go to the internal revenue because it is the taxes that you have saved that has made it attractive for you to sell it at that price.
Right, but
you are
also
thieving tax money.
That
that's
exemption
it.
is for you, not
But-
for who you're selling it
but-
to.
but-
so
but
who
I-
you're selling it
But as you know, and Rowdy say when I work, I want to get paid.
But you-
That is
I don't
that
let
is
my money to
allowed.
slip out
Yeah.
neither, you know.
You use a term just now, partner. You use a term just now. You say critical thinking, and people say, "Oh God, that's so hard." I'm not just thinking, I want to think harder.
Critical.
Critical thinking.
Critical.
Brother, all people after this open their eyes. All we have to do is open their eyes. Listen, if you're in the grocery, I asked today, I say, for Massey, if Massey was to sell these Julie mangoes any younger, they gotta pick it as flowers.
That's
I see that post. I see that post. Yeah, I see that post. I see that post.
You see them mangoes?
I see that post.
Force right mango.
Oh God, but the thing
I see that post. I see that post.
I grew up on that Julie
I see
mango
that
tree. I
post.
telling you, the mango him start to
Well,
follow. Yeah, everybody.
I check myself. My
Where's
Julie
the
mango is
charge
probably
on
selling
the
it massive.
advertisement?
I don't get. I have a Julie
Statutory
mango
rate.
tree.
That's what that's statutory rate.
Them take too young. And watch now, they bowl with it, you know. They bowl, they pack up for them in a Styrotex container with plastic wrap, and I don't know what to do. Because the
Okay.
vendors have nowhere
But
to
you
sell.
don't know what to do.
The vendors have nowhere to sell. People tell me, drive down Gasparillo and get your mango now. So when you drive down Gasparillo, you spend $100 in gas to save. You will save.
Don't bring gas in the conversation.
You just spend $100 for
No, well,
gas.
you might eat a right mango
Right now.
instead of a force right
But the farmer come off better.
Boss man, it is the farmer, and I say so, that the farmer is the most important person in society because your doctor, your priest, your president, your prime minister can't go to work if the farmer and do his.
Thank you very much.
Well,
Followed rapidly or equally by the garbage collectors.
I always say that part of our problem in Trinidad and Tobago is that we don't see that. We don't see the importance of farming and fishing and that kind of thing. The most healthy thing you could eat is green. The best meat in my view that you could eat is natural meat from the sea that wasn't farm raised and that kind of thing. If the government was thinking, I would give fishermen gas free and let them bring down the price of the fish.
Subsidize
Subsidize the gas.
I was having a
for the fishermen.
conversation on why fish so
Bring down-
expensive on an island,
You understand?
surrounded by water.
Right? And the
They're not
same
growing the
thing,
fish.
the same thing I do for the farmers.
You ain't even feed them.
The same thing I do for the farmers.
Boss man, you talking about gas for the farmers want water.
Well,
The farmers can't get water. Understand this. We design a water management system in Trinidad and Tobago to catch the bounty of water in the hills and wash it straight out to the sea. It don't stop, it don't pass go. It don't collect $200. We don't understand the concept of retention ponds, that you have 10 farms here, create a little dam. all them farms get their water there. We don't understand the concept. You know when Trinidadians don't understand the concept? When they have to jump over people's wall and break in the house to see what's in the fridge. Because food go in and run out. Hear me now? I tell
You
him
doing
today,
that already?
He called me. Stephan called me on the
I
phone.
thought we reached there.
Stephan called me on the phone today. He said, boy, you see the price of meat. I said, it's the first time you go in the grocery. Because the price of meat
Poultry shop!
was
$34 a pound for beef!
In a poultry shop, they're selling beef. You don't understand what you're saying, Stephan. They're selling beef in a poultry shop.
In the meat shop, yes.
Oh, sorry.
$20 a pound for chicken. They're selling
You
everything.
see, I couldn't interrupt you because you're confused. I'm glad Errol picked up.
chicken is $100.
I'm glad
In the
Errol
meat shop,
picked up
in
on
the
it
meat shop.
because you're-
Correction, in the meat shop. In the meat, is my wrong, sir? What? Is my wrong? Bring her wrong, sir. Bring her wrong. Because he might have missed that if he was on the second
No,
row.
but when
Yeah, no, I
when he called
watch
me,
me.
when he called me, he tell me,
$58 a
yeah,
pound.
yeah,
For what?
Yes, the man. When last you went to the grocery? So you see the price of food.
I get sick.
Tell him, but we are
Get
in.
sick.
Stephen,
Think about
we
it.
are in. No, but listen. And we've been warning about this. We warned about this when they were removing the subsidy from the gas. And we don't understand this, that we are entering into a period of hyperinflation. Because the gas going up, so the transport going up, so the food going up, so the fertilizer going up, so the feed going up.
but-
Wait, I want to tell you this. You, in every step of the way, you in your business have to adjust your prices for the raw material that went up for you. But when you raise yours, this farmer wife buying something from you, his price, cost of living just went up again. So everybody just keep raising.
nobody
Let me bring it home for you. I have a neighbor. She live alone. She's a public servant working at the Ministry of Education. She told me she's working for 17 years as a clerk on. Her salary is just over $5,000. She lives alone. You work for $5,000. You're paying a rent of about $3,000. Right? You can't drive a car. Because if you have to pay for a car, that gone over your
But is it
$5,000.
money
You have to
done?
do something else in the night.
Money done.
To get money to do that.
Yeah.
Right? But that's
Why you
just
say night?
I don't know, you could have said day. You had to do
Semi-imagination.
something else in the
Yeah,
day.
But that's
In
just
the
that is-
day.
Stephen,
This
your
is-
idea
no.
of extracurricular
Would you like to
activities-
rephrase?
No,
Would you like to
this- no, what
rephrase
I'm saying
that?
is-
Would
this
you
is
like to
real.
rephrase that?
This is real. What I'm saying is, when you think about the average man on the street that working for $3,000, $4,000, and $5,000,
How they
how are
surviving?
they living? How
How
are they
they surviving?
surviving?
How they surviving?
Really? How are they surviving?
And according to
With
Stephen,
rent, it's $3,000.
What about people on
average.
disability?
Right?
No, but-
What about people on
and-
disability?
all
And
the
you
people who
still
buy
tell-
cars,
you still telling public servants zero,
$2,000.
these are bad man.
Nice
But-
medication.
How are
Aaron.
you doing that?
They matter
How?
rent
They get no tax
That is-
exemption, you know.
Boss
They get
man,
no tax
the
exemption or
C-
nothing.
the CPO making $52,000 a month. You think he care? You think he could understand them arithmetic you just do? That if I have to move from rent and buy a car, I have to go and lie down on Murray Street? You think he...
You know, he didn't say that, right? He said working the night.
He said working the night.
So
yes,
why,
correct.
how you end up there
Delivering
now?
pizza. Okay, don't show me that.
We didn't
I
say
did-
anything about Murray Street.
I didn't
Nothing
know
was
how
said
I
here
told
about
you.
Murray Street.
Lying down on Murray Street.
Nobody here has ever been to Murray Street. Go ahead.
Correction.
Correction.
I went by the black box.
But I like
to
your
check up.
imagination. I like your imagination.
That was it.
I am
You say
I am
working the night,
amazed,
that's what I got.
Philip. I am amazed.
You
But
say
you know
what?
what I'm amazed at also? That there's a system that was used to oppress us and to reduce us to nothing. And that is the system we're using now to find our freedom.
Exactly.
How? Was it rational? How can we take
Was it
this system?
education and religion?
Well,
Boss
I'm
man.
looking at the Westminster system.
Okay.
Okay.
That is the system that ruled us, reduced us, oppressed us. And now that they're gone, that's the system we grab to free ourselves.
I will give
Nah,
her props. It's Nyala Maraj. There's her post. So, once upon a future time, not only the current Chief Justice but also the current AG could be sitting on the Caribbean Court of Justice adjudicating a case in which I sue Keith Rowley for closing down Petrotrin and putting a bunch of criminals in charge who would let 6 men die a horrible death in a pipe below the sea. And they will call that a justice system. The question now is, was colonialism worse than PNM? How have the people of Trinidad and Tobago managed to choose the most evil people in the country to elevate to the role of royalty and drag them back to feudalism? Because there is no other word for a system in which a small group of people can cruelly exploit the rest of the population and live in a state of decadent excess with the willing acceptance of their victims.
Exactly. Will
Brother.
that be syndrome? Will that be
You know, she
Will
used to
you-
work Guile, right? I'm just letting you know.
Really?
Right, go
Okay.
ahead.
All right.
Used to.
One for Gael from the social media post.
Commercial. No, but
It is
when
real.
You see, what hit me? What hit me?
Neither of
is
them
with
could
the
be elevated to the
willing
CCG.
willing
acceptance of their victims. You're
Yes.
talking about a man.
You're
And
walking
defending
with the
them
gallows
too.
And you're
Nah, man.
defending them.
The
You look at them
victims
on
will be
Facebook.
defending
You
them.
look at them, say anything about PNM on Facebook. All your half of your friends, you lose them.
Boss man, you talk about one man buy a car for 2 million and only pay 400,000. So the other side go on and take boom, 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 boom. Until this side share your man, he do the same thing.
Yeah.
And
All are
when
we thief.
so when we talk lesser evil, what exactly we talking about? You have fewer pedophiles than you.
You know who I want to track
age
down?
group.
You know who I want to track
Higher.
Or
down?
the age group higher.
I don't know if Phillip could help me with that. You know what I want to track down? Remember in 2010 when PNM lose the election, it had 2 girls in Balisay House and they was crying
Jed.
saying,
Jed.
come on, Chad, come on, take my
Nothing-
nothing for
nothing
me,
for
you
me,
Chad.
Jed.
Nothing. I wonder whether she...
That old Julia Davies.
No.
No, it had a clip with
No,
2 young
the
girls.
girl he talking about have a public service job. She have a big public service
Serious?
job. Nothing for we Jed. That's her name.
Nothing for we, Jed.
Nothing for
Come
we,
on, go
Jed.
close down gate. We got nothing.
Where gate now?
I would...
Buy and scrap iron or battery buy.
Gate, the gate the thief from Lord Harris.
Because the gate she talking about, the gate she talking about one long time.
And
The gate
that's
she talking about one long time.
so you
So it
see.
might be the gate is
So you
Lord
see,
Harris
so you
Square
see,
gate.
and people still calling in on this man's show. He should be able to hit your virtual clout for calling to tell people about lesser evil. When you're talking lesser evil, what does you really think that mean? What do you think it mean? Because it's a country that's spending $60 billion, give or take, and 500 people getting murdered every year. So, what's lesser evil?
One says my party and the thief, I cool. I could live for that.
So if you, right, have
So
two
lesser
women,
evil
you're
is
one
identity
unmarried,
politics.
and you have 2 women and you love both of them, and you're trying to decide which one. This one will horn you 4 times a year, this one will horn you twice a year. So there's the lesser evil.
Yeah, that is the lesser
You married
evil
one
is
who
the
Yeah,
horn
but
you
this
twice
one
a year.
horning you twice a year, putting
Yeah.
gravel in your pillow.
Right. And the one who horning you 4 times a year, mining them other fellas with your money.
But you have a virgin truck in
It have
here,
a-
but you ain't want shit.
No. Shut Stephan! Shut!
You have a virgin track in here.
But you ain't want shit?
Yeah, but she-
You want the virgin?
A faithful.
Yeah! I'm faithful.
I ain't know what kind of sex I'm going to get from that virgin.
Yeah.
You see, before
It's a
this,
little too tight. I
Before
like
this-
tight.
before
I just don't like
this,
tight.
before this go
I
too
want it
far.
loose.
Before this go too far.
No, is the rum shop you talking about? The tight is the rum tight?
Yeah.
Good
Tight head, yeah. It's head, yeah.
No, but you're correct.
But I'm telling you,
That's only too evil.
I would suggest
That's too evil,
a woman
makes
that's
sense.
not going on horn here. This man bring out a virgin, so all him on with that. But the
So you're not a virgin.
if they were select PPs, they
yeah,
didn't select a virgin.
yes sir.
They would have select a virgin in terms of
I
governance.
refuse to
Run the
associate
country
that man
with a virgin. With virginity.
With
yeah.
virginity. I refuse to associate.
I am
Come again.
We
not
apologize, we
supposed to use-
apologize.
Come again,
Unlike other
Correction,
people
correction.
who use the show to plug the TV station.
You
I
mean
am
Gaia?
not-
Where
Well,
used to
good
work,
shows. Good shows. Sign on and
But we have a serious problem, eh? I mean, we have to laugh about it, but we have a serious problem because that's unfortunately, listen, you could join a political party tomorrow.
Yeah.
People say, oh gosh, Errol, I love you. People tell me that, you know, Stephan, why don't go up? Why don't go up for a seat? Why don't get into politics?
Join a
why
party?
don't join a party? Oh, wait. It's me a love of the party.
And that's the problem.
It's me a
Because-
want of the party.
Watch
or what?
me.
Which one?
I won't use myself or Errol or Stephan, and I'll say this. If Rudal Munilal
Uh-huh.
at the PNM convention walk up on that stage in a red shirt, half the crowd get an orgasm. The Rudal that they hate.
They will now love and adore.
Think about it. Think about if Rohanson and Ann show up in a yellow UNC shirt. They will faint.
And a Monday night forum.
They will
Think
and you know what?
think about Penelope Beckles showing up on a
What if
PDP
Paris
platform.
No, you see, I can't use
Yeah.
this. I don't want to put PEP, but I want to tell you something. I want to say that it is what he just said is a fact. They don't hate Rudal, you know. They hate Rudal in the UNC. Because I asked the other day,
Correct,
could
is right.
Keith Rowley, that you love, swear you love him, you're ripping your shirt, pulling your hair, you love him, could Keith Rowley win Diego Martin West if he wasn't in PNM? The answer is no. No. Could Kamla
Could
Prasad
barely
be
win
Sessa?
it in PNM.
But
go
no,
ahead.
but seriously, the point is this: could Kamla Prasad Bissessa win Superior if she wasn't in UNC?
Or can Dial Singh win St. Joseph
The,
if he was not in PN?
the point he make is
Yeah,
the
but if you could
most
win anything.
important point. We've bought into identity politics. They've sold us slogans. They've sold us symbols. They've sold us colors of shirts. We was talking earlier how to herd pigs, how to herd wild pigs, and all you need to do is put some food on the ground and let them get accustomed to eating there. You put up a fence.
One
and you go-
side.
You know, is he, you
And
know,
they, no, but here is the story. That's the thing. They will eating the food and watching this new fence. Where this new fence come from, boy? And they will eat. And they put next fence, and they come and they say something change again, and we eating. Third fence, and they still coming to eat. When you finally put the gate and lock them in, they know, and he said it. They're eating better outside, but they had to make a little bit of effort. But as long as you feed them for free, inside of there, as long as they feel like getting their food without effort here, well, we used to run around in the bush.
After a little time again, they can leave the gate open now.
And them ain't going nowhere.
I mean, there's some, it are people.
I see my dog, so you know, I see the gate open, I say, but go now.
You see the map of Trinidad? When you look at the map of Trinidad, you see San Fernando, you see Caroni, you see Port of Spain, you see Diego Martin, right? But in the context of what we're talking here, people don't see that map, you know. We live in amongst people who don't see that map, you know. They don't see Diego Martin and Arima and Chagonas, you know.
How we vote.
They just see it after the election
How
when
we
they put the
vote.
two colors there.
And the color.
Yellow, go down so, red go across so, bam, that's Trinidad and Tobago.
How we
That's
vote
how they see it.
is not how we party.
In a color.
Yeah.
How we vote is not how we party.
How we vote is not how we party.
That you could change that. How we vote is not how we see the country. How we vote, they sold us identity politics. People are telling you that they know that their party evil. They are
Yeah, they're willingly admitting that.
But on
And saying
on a more
it's the
serious
only
note,
alternative.
the question must be, if an election is called today, who is more likely to win?
You can ask that question now, and I'll tell you why.
But I can tell you 60% of the public servants are complaining about the 2% go back and forth the same way and take
Exactly.
each
But you see, the situation is
And
very fluid.
and
The situation is very fluid because you say
the only way to solve that is for the parties to come together, in my opinion.
Which parties?
Well,
oh, you're going too serious in this wrong shop, and I want to say to you,
Which party?
listen to me,
No, I want to hear which party.
Mr. Man, you ain't in nobody.
Which-
You say
Which
you not.
I no member, no political
Exactly,
party, I never
so
went
you-
up in no election. Which party I want to vote? Which parties?
my opinion is
Win my vote now. Take my vote now. Get my vote now.
My opinion
Take my
is
vote.
my opinion is I went.
Boss man, I hear the talk. People say if Errol and people like Errol and all the third parties join up, we suck the oxygen out of the PNM and UNC. But how do you rationalize that is what we have to do to win an election? How does it, why can't every ideology and politician, why Errol can't build his base in St. Joseph, and I assume that you're still in St. Joseph,
Yeah.
but why can't he build his base in St. Joseph, and why can't the people in St. Joseph say, I'm going to try this one, I try that one, the same jam no matter what, let me try with Errol because
Errol do have $500 to put in a jersey.
Philip, it does not
Errol,
work like that.
is he correct?
Philip, it does not work like that.
What?
You could take your 500 in your jersey,
And you could
and
still
by you
vote.
by yourself in the ballot,
Right.
you could still vote for Errol.
No, they have to take a picture. What they need to do is ban cell phones in the voting booth, because you have to take a picture of
You
the
have to take
ballot.
a- Yeah.
They want you to take a
But
picture of the ballot.
we only
and
need
send it.
we only need one picture of the ballot, you know.
You're allowed to do that?
We only need one
I
picture, and we
didn't
share that with each other on WhatsApp, and they get that picture whole day. They get that same picture. You know.
If that's for me.
For that though, you know. You just had a printout about 300,000.
Stephan, the hope that you have for this country is the same hope that keeps Errol fighting in St. Joseph. And I saying keeps him fighting because, and I was there with him when we sit down on TTT one morning, all of we tired, remember that, as the independents. And I remember, but what keeps you going is that despite all evidence that you are fighting an uphill, you're climbing a mountain cliff face first. If you are going to stand for something, at some point you are hoping that the people you are going to lead are people that can say, you know what, I see your effort, I see your heart, I see your intentions. I was trapped before because I had no options, but you've been consistent, and I hear your message, and I am brighter than identity politics. I want to come and give you my vote, because at the end,
But listen.
but I'm asking you.
Listen, what you will be doing is given Errol is not the only person. That 10 others like Errol, that have you, would have former commissioner of police, that all of them.
Watson Duke,
all of them.
all kind of people in
You
all kind of
split up
areas
all
and
level.
have
Listen,
people.
in mathematics I learned one thing years ago. The shortest distance between 2 points is the determinant.
A straight line.
A straight line. Come together. I remember
I wasn't ready for this conversation.
I will tell you this.
I remember, let me tell you something. I remember
We need RUM for this
a couple of
conversation.
years ago, I was in Cipriani College, sometime in 2012, 13, somewhere there. And Watson Duke was having some real challenge in the PSA. And he had an election. PSA had an election. And about 4 different groups decided to fight Watson Duke. And I was telling them, you all will never get through. You'll never beat Watson like that.
They had to become one.
And is exactly what happened. Come together, take the straight line.
No need that.
Forget about
Let me
who
tell
want
you.
to be prime minister and who want. Listen, and a leader will emerge.
Let me tell you something.
Or
Come
you have
take
a, you have
all-
an election.
Let me tell you something.
Come together.
What you're saying, I believe could change the dynamic, right? Social media, if you get the right set of people together, social media could win your election.
Yeah. It
Right?
has in
And I'll tell you why.
It has in Latin America and some of
I'll
those
tell
other
you why,
places.
because coming out of the
Yeah,
pandemic
Barack
here, this
Obama.
last 2
Barack
years,
credited social
Yeah.
media.
but coming out of the last 2 years of the pandemic here, a lot of people don't trust the conventional media.
Well,
All right, a lot of people,
For one, I don't look at local
Right?
news again. I stop that long
And
time.
that's the next thing. How much people is really like? I mean, I remember when I was small growing up, Panorama. When Panorama come on, the whole house,
Yeah, boy. My
several
father,
country,
my
whole
father-
country watching Panorama.
My father used to watch Panorama with a fervor. Like, you swear he on Panorama, you know.
Right? So the dynamic has changed drastically. Social media is now the avenue to capture people's attention, because that is what people on, especially young people. They on this 90% of the day. This is what they on.
Exactly.
I was just in a tasting, not competition, but I went to taste some students in a chef course, and one of the chefs came out, right?
Students?
I'm sorry, some students'
That's
food.
the best thing, you know.
Correction.
What are you doing inside
Correction.
of this place,
I was
So we
there to
talking about-
taste
we
this
talking
food.
about- we
I was
talking about
there.
the industry. We talking about politics.
I
was there.
You are pedophile here too?
No, I didn't say the age.
No.
I said the age of the students.
Satish edit this, you know. Right, sir?
Edit out Steve.
You can't accuse them of
Let me
being
make
a
it-
pedophile
Stephan
because
say-
you
Let me
don't
make
know
the
the age
correction,
of the
let me make the
students
correction.
tasting.
So I was there in a tasting of the students' food after 6 weeks of training. One of the chefs came out and said that he's teaching a class right now. Not that class, eh? He has a class at a professional school, right? At the Caribbean College, Cuisine College. And he has a class with 12 students. and nobody speaks to each other. Lunchtime, so
You mean like me right now?
nobody speaks to
Or
each other. So he decided to ask them, well, why it is all this whole group come together, why it is all they not communicating? And lunchtime all they on the phone. They say they're afraid to sound stupid. And that is why
Wow.
they're not communicating.
They lose the self
They're frightened to
inside.
ask a question because they don't want to come across as being stupid. This generation, this millennial generation, this is how they operate. This is how they
Okay,
think.
but what's the
And
point?
this,
What's the point you want?
that this is where they are. They're not here.
Okay, but
They're here.
we seem to have gone down.
And that's where social media wins in.
Stephan Mathison has taken us down a very tight road, and I want to bring us back into a big open highway.
I fall in.
At 8, I want to say that, and like Errol, with his good heart and the eyes that he looks at the world, I'm not saying you all don't have good hearts. I'm just saying that Errol,
After that student coming by, right?
after that,
I don't know anybody think come out there. But
no,
go ahead.
but you know better than most people, Mr. Mathison. You are on the ground with everybody. You know the situation right now is very fluid. You know that the PNM is reviled and the UNC is not seen as an alternative. That the country is in a place right now. And I'm not saying that those with deep pockets can't come and drunk it in money and look at $2,000 and a phone and a toaster and a new shoes. Because whatever it takes, they don't care. If you spend $3 billion on the election, you'll get back $30 billion from the treasury. So they don't care who have more corn, they buff out. And they know that. And that's the game. But right now the situation fluid. And Errol said people might take the money and the jersey and the toaster and the phone and the shoes and everything and still vote sensibly. And we have to keep creating, using your social media, we have to keep creating a conversation where people could feel safe to wake up.
Yeah, but it had to be a unified conversation.
Boss man, you
it
don't,
can't be,
you
it
you
can't be
cannot
everybody
force-
just all over the place.
No, you can't manipulate it. I am saying, just
to be
let,
organic.
just let the people feel safe to wake up and talk about the issues.
Okay.
And you know you're doing that every morning on your show. So let's be real. You encourage a dismantling of the narrative every morning. You are one of the only people in mainstream media. I don't consider Gael as mainstream media. He is counterculture. He's a disruptor. He's been a disruptor for decades. But you are in the belly of the beast. And I don't understand how they don't fire you, honestly. I keep waiting.
Let them try.
Eyeballs talk.
I keep waiting to wake up and hear, but they finally fire
Bossy
Stephan.
throat.
Because he is there are no sacred cows on your show,
No.
right?
No.
And the people who call into your show, even though some might be on a side still, they point their toe in the pool. They're checking to see how it feels. That's why they call in the show. That's why they call in your show.
You know. Yeah.
That's why they call in the show. And people like you and people like Errol, I'm saying, the job is not about forcing unification. The job, and maybe you said it correct when you said, let them vote. The job is creating a highway of political freedom where people could say, you know what? Even if I is the only one vote for him, I voted for him. I like what he stands for.
And feel good about it. And feel good about it.
And that's good.
I could see
but
that.
you're missing. That's good, but then stay out of electoral politics.
No, your basic concept is not
Because-
flawed. Your basic concept.
Because electoral politics, in my view,
Eh.
is about is that the art of convincing the majority.
You gotta sell it. You gotta market it.
You gotta sell it.
Yeah.
And if you can't get the majority, then you waste your time.
Boss
My
man,
view.
No,
Yeah.
I beg to differ.
Yeah,
Time has not been wasted at all.
So,
I
well,
feel.
not your waste of time, but you didn't solve the problem. You start because in Trinidad and Tobago and in politics generally, for you to change things, you had to be
Boss
inside.
man, the night Barack
Right?
Obama won.
And if you want to
the night
change-
Barack Obama won, and the camera panned to Jesse Jackson, he was just standing there, and tears was rolling down his face. If you see that image, and I remember
that.
I thought, what this must feel like to Jesse, what this must feel like having been the person that fought this unwinnable fight without Jesse Jackson, Barack Obama is never president.
So
Without Michael Jordan, without Michael Jackson. And I'm saying to
I'm
you,
hearing you. I
no,
understand what you're
boss
saying.
man, I am saying to you that you are saying that there is a reality that is all we have ever known, but I am saying to you the past does not equate the future. We could build the future that we want, and people like us in this conversation we're having now, and more of the people who are talking this into the public space are creating a space for people to have this conversation. I am not disagreeing with you about what.
Because at the end of the day, you want to get into office, but you're saying you can't change nothing unless you're inside, and all who inside are successfully changing nothing.
Exactly. But so then
Good
we're not
point.
going anywhere. Diminishing return, we're not going anywhere.
All who inside
We're not
successfully
going
changing
anywhere.
nothing.
But they're not
We're
changing
working
anything.
and we're coming back down.
But they're not changing anything because we're not addressing something that needs to be addressed. Campaign finance reform.
how do we
Has to
address
take
it?
Among
place.
so many other things.
Because you have the same people financing the two political lesser of two evils, wherever you want to call them.
How would you get that to
It's the
change?
same people financing
How you
them.
get that to change if when it come up in the lower house, the same people in the upper house adjudicate it?
That's exactly it.
But
Watson
Watson
How do you get on your
Watson Duke, to his credit, did show that you don't need money to win an election.
Thank you.
But that is in Tobago.
Yes,
Tobagonians have a
Whoa,
different
that-
mentality.
wait a minute.
That may not
First of
necessarily
all,
happen to that.
first of all, and I would like to disabuse the viewing audience and debunk this idea that Watson Duke had
Didn't spend
anything to
money.
do with that election. That was the reason
Farley Augustine.
Farley Augustine won that election is they did an amazing job of hiding Watson Duke.
Okay,
First of all,
okay.
first of all, and secondly, the reason they did not need money was because that message was on point with the people.
Okay, so okay,
That was what I just said.
Okay, but how do we do that here?
But that's what I just said, by continuing these conversations.
Because the time you have to build.
You have to build to that
groundswell.
point. Stephen, you
And
know
they
the
get
know
it.
the idea where they say that you can't be in information.
But the clock ticking.
You
Yeah.
can't be
How
in.
many tell me about an idea that was ahead of its time?
That's it. You can't be in information technology and designing an app or a system at where people are now. You have to decide where they will be, and you have to meet them there. That's what you're saying, right? That your message.
Or they have to meet you there. Because they're coming. But you have to be there. If you're not there,
And Jesse Jackson's message. Jesse
Yeah, man.
Jackson's message.
Cheers, fellas. Yeah.
Firewater.
This is
Yeah.
Errol wrongs. I know I'll call him this. But Jesse Jackson's
Or they don't make
message.
it like they used to.
Jesse Jackson's message resonated when it was time to vote for Obama. That it was no longer inconceivable that a black man could be the president of the United States. We need to come to a time when it is no longer inconceivable that somebody outside of that system, that is not an amalgamation of some and some not, and all,
or that an independent could never win.
St. Joseph,
I would love to see our independent.
fresh politicians,
That to me would change the dynamic.
Our history,
untainted,
independence
disconnected,
win.
people
Independent people win
with
security.
unblemished character, integrity, people who have ethics, who stand for things. Because a lot of the people that you're talking about in these third parties and things have enough substance that they could have commanded big positions in any of those parties. When he say they call in Stephan, join a party, he could command a position in any of those two parties. It takes somebody of a certain amount of integrity and a little bit of insanity to tell yourself that looking at what has always been our reality, I am going to fight for something better. But all through history, brother, those are the people that change the world. I didn't know where I was going at. And I
And
didn't
you
use
close
words.
your rungs up that like a champion.
Watch now, man.
You
It tie up
wrap
nice.
that like a champion.
Hey, Satish, you will clip that. That is a promo.
That's a piece.
That's a promo. And what?
The man edited on the spot too, yeah?
Look now, put some nice music in the background, the flag waving.
And two people crying.
Oh, Lord of mercy.
Coming out to the rum shop. But the truth is, and brother, and you could keep us grounded, and I love that is your mission. But I want you to believe that you're talking to people who believe. And we're willing we're willing to sacrifice. I mean,
So
this
many
man
people
is-
have told me, you waste your time, you waste your money, but I don't feel so. So many people tell me you lose. I don't feel so. I came out of
well, ask the
election
people who tell
feeling
you,
victorious.
ask the people who tell you that you
No,
lose.
never.
How, ask them how they won.
Thank you. Or what?
No,
They
but I
won.
said,
How did you win or what did you win?
if you lost, they won. What did you win? What did you benefit from again?
But I don't.
you
I
win a
never
system.
felt defeated at the
You
polls.
win in a system.
I didn't get to where I could have gotten to through the electoral process, but I gained so much,
But
and
you-
I've
so, okay,
not
so-
been defeated.
so
So
what
even
you're-
if
what
I
you're saying-
bounce you up, 20 years from now, 30 years from now, you and I walking up them steps on 2 cane and crutches, grey hair all coming out your ears. I stay in the course, and I telling you, it might be the time then. Or it might be people like us outside crying tears and watching something
Some
new
new
that we
something.
helped cut the road for. And
Yeah.
But I think
and,
what-
and if that happens, when that happens, that's the victory. That's the victory.
I think what Errol's saying, you know, I could understand where coming from. It's like when people say, you know what, do the things in life that make you happy.
Thank you very much.
Not the things that pleases the
You get
people
one of
around
them,
you.
you get one of them roll of toilet paper that have me
Yes.
saying for the day.
But do the things that make you happy.
Thank
So you have taken a position. I'm not happy with this. I'm not happy with the ketchup. I'm not happy with the mustard. I think I could stand alone and I could represent
But it
this
shouldn't even,
constituency.
it shouldn't even
I-
be
I
about the
went up.
colors. It shouldn't even
Whatever
be
the
about the
result,
colors. If
this
you
is- I
don't
have taken
agree,
a
a
I've done
position.
this, why I
At
wanted
least you
to
have
do-
taken
and I
a
can do that in
position
this country.
independently.
You know-
It have people in the Senate right now, and they're labeled independent senators, and it's the biggest hocus pocus thing you could ever come across. It have nothing like an independent.
How do they select
No,
an
that
independent
was,
senator? How do they
parties
select
that
an
put
independent
people-
senator?
How they select an independent
How do they select
senators?
independent
And then
senators?
Osman, I watch a head of Transparency
like that, but at least you
International
take an independent
get
position.
appointed as an ambassador, and I say, how does the person who is oversight against the government get a position from the government? Trinidad is a different place.
Different place.
Trinidad is a different place.
But you want to change that, right? You want to change that? How you changing that?
I
If
want
you're not
the
inside
people
it.
to want to change it. You don't have
You
to be
see,
inside.
no, but you see, I want to tell you this. Stephan is one of those people who believe in going to hell for a heavenly cause. And I watch P.W. Booth and F.W. de Klerk, and I watch Boris Yeltsin and Mikhail Gorbachev, and I watch those exchanges where people have to say, for you to reach where you reach in the Soviet Union, you know what you had to contribute to, how much people had to dead, same thing in South Africa. But those people rose from in the belly of the beast and changed cultures. And I get that you're saying that. But in Trinidad and Tobago, we are all immersed in this same cesspool every day anyway, you know. You have things that you want to do with your business. The average person in business will tell you this. You are faced with, brother man, you pay the bribe or you don't get through. That's it.
In terms of changing things, right? I'll ask you a question here. You ever took up like a particular issue or situation, you had to quote the Constitution to educate people? That this is your constitutional right?
This is you born with this entitlement.
Right, because I think a lot of people, the vast majority of people in Trinidad and Tobago, if you ask them to quote 3 things from the Constitution, they probably can't name any. That's what I admire Americans for. You could stop the average American on the side of the road, and they could tell you about what the Constitution says.
Could just teach them their own history.
Correct. But in Trinidad, we don't do that.
What's the name? Know the MP
And-
name?
Right, but that's part of the problem because they don't even know what they're entitled to. They don't even know. So if they don't know what is
Can't
rightfully
fight for it.
theirs,
They can't
what
fight
they
for
will
it.
fight for it.
They can't fight for it.
They can never fight for it. You can't fight
Exactly.
for something that you don't know exists.
You know,
I think we start there.
Why is
Educating
it-
people on that.
who was the president of Venezuela before Maduro? What your name?
Chavez.
Chavez. Print the Constitution on flour bag and sugar bag and thing for them to see it.
Mm.
He put it there, let them know and let them understand what it is they write.
Mm.
And we need something like that. People, But
People
the
need to be
thing is,
educated in that.
some Trinbagonians are not even interested to know.
But we gotta make them interested. We gotta come up with a way to make them interested. No, because we could collectively, not programmed or planned. but
Trinidadians
collectively,
have
because
so much.
it's
Trinidadians have so much to think about
teaching
when they
people.
come. The children,
And they
the
still on
salary,
this,
where they get
and they still on
paid,
this.
where they have so much to think about. They're not.
If
The
you
people
only
that's
know
destroying them.
If you only
They're
know,
not seeing
if
so
you
far.
only know how close to the truth you just got, that it is a manipulated system that makes life so hard that just getting through the blasted
They
Is enough.
It's pressure.
Yeah.
So
You
you're
want no time to
distracted.
think about
You
the
are
politician.
distracted.
You're not even seeing them, the oppressors. You're not even seeing them. You're not even thinking
You ain't
about
even
it.
seen Starbucks in the airport.
Right?
Because you're busy and you're distracted.
You look at
think
the survive.
about
Smoke and mirror.
when I was coming here.
Smoke
And
and
everybody-
smoke and
when I was
mirrors.
coming here, I come from Shagonas. The traffic start from, oh gosh, coming right back into Port of Spain. The reverse of that takes place in the morning. Now you you just take that into consideration. You wake up. You have 2 children, 3 children. Not like you are 7. But you have 2 or 3. You're 7, yeah?
On point.
All right,
exactly on
good.
point.
You are 7. So, well, you come from a family of 9, right? You're the 6 or 9. He's the 6 or 9. He's the 6 or 9 children. But the thing is this. You picture, you have 2 children. Your mother had 9. Right? You are 7. Right. You only have 2. You gotta wake them up out of bed. You gotta make breakfast for
I
them.
just gonna ask you how
Gotta
much
get
you
them
have.
ready for school. I have 0. I have 0. I can borrow from Errol when the time comes.
No, you could just
But
have
imagine
support
this.
them.
But imagine this. After you do all of that, and children will put you through, depending on the age and certain level of frustration, and you already frustrated before you even sit down and eat breakfast.
Boss man,
You know what's the flip side of
And
that?
that's when you leave the house and bounce up the traffic
You
coming into
talk-
Port of
You know
Spain.
what's the next side of
they
that?
talk about people, they talk about generations who have grown up in the back seats of cars.
You know what's the flip side of that? In the 80s, that highway that crowded was a little less crowded now. It was 2 lane, 1 lane going up,
Single
1
lane,
lane
single
coming up,
lane.
right?
Right.
Today, we have about 4 or 5 lanes on between San Fernando to Port of Spain.
Same traffic.
We have more cars, we have more traffic, and no one, the solution to that for the government is to raise money on tickets, on
Yeah.
the merit point and fundraising.
Stephen,
As opposed to
Port of
finding a
Spain.
way
Mass transit.
to fix that transportation
It's
problem.
it's
Before you
mass
talk
transit
transportation,
system or
right?
centralized
Wait,
port.
Either
Before
like
you-
in countries
boss
where
man, boss man, before you talk fixing transportation to get to a destination, question he asking is, why is that the destination? Why 250,000 people must come into
It
Port of
is in one
Spain every
direction.
day? Why? And Patrick Manning knew. When he spent those hundreds of millions of dollars on Hyatt and Waterfront and government campus, he knew that those buildings should have been built somewhere in the center of Trinidad and Tobago. You could build new roads to get to it so that everywhere is equidistant from it. And it would have been far less money than you having to go and do rapid rail or any kind of other transportation issue. And from the moment you created that, because you know what COVID-19 taught us? That all of this office and building and centralized system,
waste of time.
the country continued for 2 years
We talk
under
about
a pandemic with all them office closed.
Close.
So you telling me that we can't have a national conversation and say, okay, because if it start back, people were waiting, let me get back to normal. Normal is children growing up in the back of a car. That is not a normal.
It's like you're going to a stadium to watch a game, sellout crowd, but you only have 1 gate open. You're going to end up with a line from here to south.
Correct. Is right.
But if you open multiple gates, you're going to
Then
have
easy
less
out
crowds.
easy.
Easy and easy, faster flow. And it's as simple as that with Port of Spain and the traffic problem. The problem is not how much cars it have.
That
Right? It
Kamala-
probably dies a part of the problem.
is they all
But
going
they
to the
But they're all
same
going in the
place
same
at the same
direction.
time.
Yeah.
The next thing too, almost every other part of the world, let me not say every other part of the world, but there are countries in the world where a car when it's over 5, 6, 7 years, time to get
Got
off
to
the
go.
road.
But not even that. I mean,
We have people with PA
I
cars still on the road.
would,
PA!
no. But I mean, if your car
People
working
still
good,
with PA! It's long time, man. I used to afford it for a long time.
If your car working good and you guy where you can afford it, you have it. My problem is you have other ways to manage that traffic.
For you to be driving a car,
Yes, no.
you could
Yes,
take a bus.
Yes, no.
Because you have to be at the
Yes,
age
no.
where you could take a
Wait
bus.
a
Wait
Your
a
convenience.
minute.
Listen.
A PA car worth a lot of money.
Listen, your convenience. If you go to China, you go to these places with mass transit systems, there are also systems to regulate the amount of cars on the road in the morning. So, you have systems where cars of a certain series will be on the road on Mondays, or you have cars with less than 3 people in it.
That is not
Drive on the secondary
but
road.
we are
have
not-
all those kind of
Boss
systems that you
man,
could
we are
use.
not.
That exists.
We are
That
not.
exists.
We are not at the point.
Good
Nobody having a
examples all over
conversation
the
to
world.
fix the problem.
Nobody having
We
no
are
kind of
not at the
conversation. You
point-
still trying to raise funds from
Because
a man
it's-
with a
listen,
broken number plate
because it's-
or
listen,
a lighter working.
These
You trying to raise
slaves,
money.
these slaves
they're
not
fixing it.
complaining, so we're not going to fix it.
We
Let
have
the slave and
this
them
way.
take the traffic.
Welch, we are feed this way.
Yeah.
I want to ask you a question. We are not at, actually I want to say something. We're not at the point where that is the solution of the conversation we'll be having. We need to ask why 250,000 people still coming into Port of Spain in the morning. The only reason is DOMA. Downtown Owners and Merchants Association does not want Port of Spain decentralized. And when Trinidadians hear that, then you can go on TEDx all you want and pontificate and talk. If you are not contributing to the reality, if the business people who live in LSD Park and Sinclair and Federation Park don't want the roundabout that straight through from Wainwright Street along Circular Road back, that will end the Maraval traffic, because people sit down in that traffic every afternoon.
Was that the purpose of the online tax?
Which
I think that was 180.
That's how I hold on.
No, but I mean,
You went.
critically
you know.
think. If you're saying that they want you to come to Port of Spain all the time, it's to buy the goods
that in
that in town.
Boss man,
So it
I am
means that
saying to you,
if their masters or the people who strings they are pulling are deciding to maintain that by giving them all the foreign exchange and taxing us heavily if we use it to buy online, then
If you take,
we will
if
keep
you
coming and
take-
talk to buy from them.
Mr. Man, if you take the 250,000 people out of town that come to work in them offices out of town, all those business in town closed down.
Here's your
That's
problem.
what we say.
Just now.
Here's your problem.
Wait,
what we saying.
wait, just now. I want that to sit down on
Do
the
we
table.
need that?
I want it to, but if
Mentality problem. I'm going
but
to
the
do with that.
decision is being made not what is in the best interest of the country or the people, but what's in the best interest of a select few who have access to the government. Plain talk. So if we are not, as a people, addressing the reality that the people we vote into office work against us to the benefit of others, and we still talking
Who
lesser
can't
evil,
put them in office?
but we still talking lesser evil, when what we talking about is inconvenience and suffering and hunger. This is what we really talking. Voting have consequences. These are the consequences of it.
Look at the line for cruise ship walk the other day.
And call members say,
It was oversubscribed.
that normal. His son line up outside the aircon, sleep on the ground to get the work. No, it's not normal. It's normal
He said,
for plebs.
he said it wasn't oversubscribed. He said 4,000 people showing up for 2,000 jobs is not oversubscribed. But like I said this morning, yeah, 4,000 people showing up for 2,000 jobs mightn't be oversubscribed. But he missed the point where they only had 3 people to interview the people.
This is my
They
point.
had 3 interviewers.
If this thing is going to happen, why is it that event management company
Wasn't
couldn't
planned
get
better?
that
Why was
and
it?
have a thing
Because you know what I didn't expect?
and
You know what I
section
didn't
it
expect?
and treat people like
I gotta
human
say
beings
this,
and
I
treat
gotta-
people with
I-
dignity.
I'm gonna say this for the first time. The majority of people who went for that walk, they don't want to work on a cruise ship. They just want to get out of Trinidad. They want to get out of Trinidad. And there's a chance to get out of Trinidad.
Case in point, go and call the embassy and ask them when is the next appointment you could get to go tell you March next year. That is to tell you how much they back up
So
inside
there's a
and
way
people
out.
looking for visa.
This is a way out.
People want out.
You know how much chili they're
Treat
going to
people-
hire.
treat
And
people
when you
with
land in Miami,
dignity.
and both roll call, half your staff missing. Chili's gone. We wanted that drop. We didn't want job.
See that people that man mouthful na man. See that man mouthful. And everybody might know. That's it. They drop in Miami and half the crew gone.
We wanted a drop.
We'll set in October when Miami Carnival going on. Oh, that's it.
But,
can't find them.
but if they leave any effort there, they're still in the lesser of two evils mentality.
Brother,
Yeah.
you know,
Good point.
No, it is a very, very valid point. But you know what you believe? You believe over there that there are systems that will regularize and fix things. Because even if
Things work.
At least there are systems that will make you feel that equalizes everybody.
That you'll feel better about working
Yeah.
for
it took
jobs.
us 30 years to get a commission of inquiry into our attempted coup. There are already lawsuits and cases
18
going
years
on in the
down the road
United
from
States
here,
of
boy.
America when Donald Trump and the Republicans and everything that stormed the White House and all those things.
And people getting locked up and charged already.
Yeah.
So you see that even though the whole world a little bit gone mad right now, you still believe you have a better chance of the system working
But a
in
friend of mine,
America.
a friend of mine talking about the phone just yesterday, and I was complaining about tell me the thing with the tax exemptions and the vehicle and thing. And I said, well, boy, this Trinidad, you know, the corruption. I said, it's sickening. Boy, I just fed up at this place, and he messaged me back because he lived here for years, and he get married to a woman, and she sent for him, and
Right.
yeah, work and everything now. So he living in New York. He said, boy, Steph, he said, I ain't lying, you know. Up here, really from him. And simple example. He said, if a line too long, and if you go to the supermarket and they have like 4 cashiers, and the line too long, and somebody open them out and say, could we get more cashiers out here, please? A manager just come, take 2-3 people off the floor, go on cash.
Yeah, one time.
Service, one time, immediate solution.
But in America,
Not in Trinidad.
But in America,
In Trinidad, could we get more cashiers? And everybody in line, so
they're doing something
I
here.
care what is going on now. I have one cashier and everybody talking to each other in the line and nobody want to open them out.
three
And
but you
And
see
you stand up and you
the
take
change
it.
line, that line moving faster. But in America, they have cashierless systems now in Trinidad.
Yeah, long time.
In Trinidad, coming out with 9 bags and your bill is for 2 packets of the paper.
we see because I remember this too. I remember I was in Massey store and I come and I complain about that the next day. I in Massey store about 9 a.m. in the morning. One cashier, the line was straight up the aisle. I put on everything and walk out.
As you're talking that,
I leave it right there in the line
As
and
you
I
talk-
walk out. Me boy back on the
as
shelf.
you're talking that, I in a Massey store today because I had to go and get a bottle of Moby, and I'm watching all the people who, when they reach the cash, you see for a little while everybody had a little green returnable bag because it was about the turtles and about the turtles.
Yeah.
Now everybody is, how much bags you want? 4, 5, 6? Tick, 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 tick. It was always about selling them plastic.
Yeah,
It's
always
a
about
bag.
plastic.
It's a-
Never
sense of the
about
bag.
no, and I don't want to derail your conversation. I just want to say because
No,
I
I
wanted to
agree with
say
you.
that somewhere. It was never about the blasted turtles at
It was
all.
about monetizing the plastic bag.
$17
That's all.
million a year they spend on plastic bags. Now they making.
But
a
you
profit.
made the point.
Yeah, man.
You made the point when they said they're not giving out plastic bags and you had to buy one of the market massy bag or whatever. You went and you showed the shelf. Well, okay, if it's about plastic, why are you selling this product that in a plastic bottle?
99%.
Why you selling?
Everything in
Obviously, the
plastic.
shelf with plastic. You understand? And we just did they tell us these things? We just chop it. We put up with it, and we just accept
But
it.
it's a kind of
But we cannot
why do
exonerate
we-
ourselves from it.
But why?
I swear, if I hear one Trinidadian talk about boycott again, I will jump off. I
you
will
don't
jump.
have
I'm
boycott,
telling
you have to-
Don't
we have
jump, don't
to-
jump. I want to say something. What
Are
it
we not
is?
serious?
What it is? Plenty people just call Errol Uncle Errol, and I like that. Uncle Errol, tell
Eh.
me. I hear great. Call him Uncle Errol.
Gloria Kasam.
What it is about us as a people that will keep us 100 of us in a line taking the same abuse, and we just stay in the line and take the abuse, like you say, one wildebeest could kill that lion. There's 1 million wildebeest and 4 lions.
We do not
What
know
did they
ourselves.
do? What did they do to us? Because it's not.
They've hidden
Good
us.
question.
They've hidden ourselves from us.
Good,
We
excellent
do
question.
not know
You can't
ourselves.
say, you
We
can't
don't
say it's
understand.
slavery, you can't say it's indentureship, you can't say it's nothing, because I tell you,
me-
every creed and race, same stupid.
Well,
Same stupid
well,
line,
well,
and then paying that
well,
25 cents for that
Well,
man.
well, that is because it answers the question. What did they do
50
to us?
cents.
When they couldn't enslave us again, what they did? First they came with the Bible. I mean, I don't want to be controversial. right?
Rushing in a rum shop, you know.
We are distancing
They came with
ourselves
the
from
Bible.
Stephen Mathison's comment on the Bible.
And then they came with the education system.
They just change the system, that's all.
And that is the form of containment. So they have you fighting up to get a degree.
SCA is
Right?
the beginning of
They have you
classes of
fighting
the
up to get a
country.
degree. To do what, boy?
SCA.
To go and work for the same man.
To get
You know,
better
the
job-
same slave
to get
master.
better job than
You talk
you.
about classism earlier, right?
Mm.
SEA, that transition from primary school to secondary school is the start of classism in the country.
Exactly.
You ever hear the joke when
Check it out.
You ever hear the joke when the fellow was telling the other fella, if you stop smoking, there's a count how much you spend every day, by how much every week, by how much every month, by how long you smoking, 10 years. If you wasn't smoking, you could have buy a Ferrari. He asked him, you don't smoke? He said no. He said, where your Ferrari?
But it's a possibility.
It's possible, it's possible.
Yeah. But you know, guys, seriously, this ignorance of ourselves is a very serious thing.
Can it
It
fix?
is.
We don't know who
Can
we are.
it
Of course, it can be fixed.
We don't know.
It was
I
a
asked you when you
platform.
came to
It
the
was a
door.
platform
I asked you when you
in
came
the
to the door, are
PNM
people
campaign
waking
recently
up?
that we will teach you the real history. You know, Rowley and them was saying that 2 elections ago. You know, of course they never did, or I never saw any attempts to. But yes, it is changing. To come to what you're saying, it is changing. I think people
asked
are waking
you
up.
when you came to the door. Are people waking
People
up?
are waking
and
up.
You said yes.
People are
I
waking up.
believe that too, and I am seeing massive numbers. But Stephen depresses me when he when he says that come election time when the bell ring, people get in the section, and it is a reality that we have seen before. But I think that the young people, especially the experience in Tobago, and I want to say this, the only time I'm going to plug the Progressive Empowerment Party, we beat the PNM in Debe South. And that is a big thing. And hot on the heels of PNM losing in Tobago, I think the public looking to flex. I think they're looking to flex.
Yeah, we in 85. We in 1985 right now.
I think they're looking to flex.
We in 83 right now. You waiting for
It's an interesting time politically.
But more than that, the public is highly offended by this administration. They've done so many things to offend this public and to offend the electorate that some of their base will have no choice but to vote for them. But many people who are part of the vote you out, not vote you in mentality in the country are already waiting with a finger in the air to vote them out.
I want to ask you this.
Vote
It's
them out or
easy for
abstain?
them to couch the
Now
conversation.
just go and vote, just go and vote
It's,
them
it's
out.
easy for them to couch the conversation in Sushila and Camille. And I'm asking you. But that didn't track for long, did it?
No.
It didn't blow up. It didn't cause the old mass that I thought it would or that they were expecting that it would. In quick time, it was gone.
I think people
Because
fed up
I'm
with
honest
that,
you.
though. People fed up.
I think people see the reality. And listen, that not affecting my pocket, that not affecting my
That's a
ability
waste
to
of my
raise my
time and my
children.
attention. Waste of my
And
time.
identity politics. I think people are waking up to the reality that identity politics is not what we thought that it was.
You see, you know, we're saying a lot, but we're not understanding what it is we're saying. The politicians, the seasoned politicians, the PNM and the UNC, they know, you see what we're talking about here? They know that, you know? They know that real good. And what we're saying is, people are so caught up trying to survive when the day comes. They're not studying politics. So the PNM and the UNC will save the reserves for when it matters. And they do it all, they've been doing it since for a long time.
Like grease the
Right?
lightning.
So we will fix the roads, we will do all them things when it close the election. So you only remember the recent thing. And you will forget everything else because you're like a
for
turtle.
4.5 years and
You're like a
nice
turtle.
for
You
about 2
forget.
months and-
You push your head in and you trying to
Yeah, but
find your way.
I think a lot of people, maybe not within their base, as Errol just said, it have a certain percentage of the base, they go vote for them no matter what.
This is what we're saying.
But I think the middle ground, because there's
It growing.
the middle ground growing, and I think a lot of that COP that old COP voter bank. That COP voter bank vote out Camelot. Let me make no mistake about it, Jenny. In 2015,
No, but all they had to do was
plenty of the COP people were so disgruntled with the UNC and all the people were
no, but
treated
the point he making-
under the partnership
You
that
know
they
what?
vote
You know
out
what?
Camelot.
No, but you know what's distressing? With the groundswell of victory that the People's Partnership enjoyed in 2010, the PNM didn't lose ground, you know.
No.
The middle,
Numbers don't
the
lie.
middle came out.
Middle do so.
The middle came out. And when you say they vote out the People's Partnership, all they had to do was just not show up.
But when
Correct.
the middle,
We need to
when,
get
when
the
the middle
middle
come out and the other
To
show
show
up,
up.
We need to get the
who
middle to
you
show
think will
up.
benefit? Who
And
you think
who
will
have to
benefit?
vote
When
now?
the middle come out,
Now,
when the middle
Now-
come out and the other side didn't show up, who you think will benefit?
I want to tell you, I believe in
It
the
will
next-
benefit the lesser
Yes,
of
sir.
the two evil.
No, no, no,
Okay,
no,
hold on,
they
hold on, hold
have-
on. You have two. All right,
They
hold
have
on, hold
more
on.
options.
Hold on.
Stephen, wait. You can't let him leave that there. They are going to have many more options, and those people have choices this next election. And I honestly believe if you do not see, and you called it and you said that if everybody get together, we pull all the oxygen out of those two and we change the game. If that doesn't happen, I still believe that there will be seats in the parliament won by people
Other
not-
than those
I
two
agree
parties.
with you. 100%. 100%. Based on the disenchantment. But we need to do better than that. And we could do better than
You
that.
need to
But
look at
man-
the middle and you
But
know.
one of the
Mama,
things- I want to
you-
say something.
Yeah, but I
I
want
want
to
to
say
say-
this.
go ahead,
One
go ahead.
second. The barman wiping the computer and ringing the bell, so we gotta bring the
Yeah.
rum shop to a close.
Correct
Carry
is right.
Yeah, because it wouldn't be a rum shop if a man don't go to the toilet and right now
Two men want to.
a hole in my water. So
What I
Yeah.
wanted to say is that you talk about coming
Running
together
off,
and
I know
working
what
together, right? And coming together and working together is important, but there are other ways. There are ways to come together and work together. For example, I'm just saying, if in St. Joseph, none of the new parties run, that's coming together. Because
Yes.
it is saying
Of course.
We
that-
support Errol.
that we support Errol. We support Errol there. And even let's say the UNC. If the UNC could come to a place, or the PNM could come to a place, either one of them to say, well, you know what? We're not running in St. Joseph.
Why would they be motivated to do that?
Let me tell you, because if they run, they could lose.
That doesn't matter.
And,
Here,
and they're on a
but here
debate.
what I'm saying, if let's say the UNC, because they're out, they're not in. If the UNC say we're not running in St. Joseph, that is the way, that can be a way to take
Yeah, but you-
take the seat from the PNM.
Yeah, but you don't put UNC in government.
No, but I'm saying is,
There is no benefit to you, to them. To
Well,
in this,
I'm saying-
I hear you, and I get what you're
the-
saying.
The issue is not about getting the seats.
There's no guarantee.
But
Does the
if-
numbers suggest that if nobody else show up in, let's say they go Martin Ross and I go up against Rowley, the numbers
Yeah.
does not suggest that automatically means that I beat Rowley.
It doesn't. But what it says to the electorate in that area, wow, everybody is saying, this is the man.
Or all of you don't care about citizen. No, just joking.
Yeah, no,
That
no.
fall flat. But no, but
I'm saying there are
point is
different
then,
ways to start looking at the thing now.
You can
there are
look,
new ways
those-
other than trying to beat you at the finish
Yes,
line.
but Errol, those two animals are financed by people who are not interested in that kind of high sounding rhetoric. Them just want victory at all costs so that they can control the treasury. And that's a different thing.
Yes,
you
it
are
is.
not in
It
this
is.
for that.
No.
You are in this because, let's agree, we've never had community-based politics. We've never. At the end of the day, nobody has ever won an election based on from the boundaries of this constituency to the boundaries of that. I will make sure that
In recent
should
time.
Yeah,
There was a time when it happened in our country,
right.
where independent politicians sat in our parliament. But
Not since 19...
but not since then.
Yeah.
You know, but it's not impossible to happen. It's not impossible to happen.
I want to say that this was an enjoyable experience
It was great.
without the rum. So you can imagine when we do have the rum, Stephan.
I don't know about all that. I was drinking and having a good time.
I think you drink too much. You
Yeah.
don't anymore.
Add a few. Message to the viewers: go drink and drive.
Unless you're drinking this.
Ride a horse. Ride a horse.
You can look
Ride a
good.
horse. Ride a horse.
That's right. Well, thanks for inviting me, guys. This was really, really refreshing.
Errol, I
Have to see.
can't think of us having a rum shop talk without Errol in it. I think, listen, I mean, we're gonna build a normal cadre of regulars on the table, and we plan to move the rum shop talk throughout the country. So I don't think it's far-fetched to say we should pick a rum shop in St. Joseph for the next show.
No
problem,
Yeah.
No problem with that at all.
Yeah, that would be
Well,
good.
you know, I go get in trouble if I
Bring
reach
the
over
bell now,
somewhere.
Baba. Just bring the bell before these fellas leave, because they're not split it in four.
But I just go in the bathroom. I just go in the
There are
bathroom.
plenty people who's going to the bathroom when the bell come in, you know.
It's just in the bathroom I go in, you know.
And there is Peter in the bell pay. Stephen.
Nice. Yeah, I mean,
Nice.
it was nice. It was nice. This is a good idea, and I think we should keep it up.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Good conversation, good conversation. Hope everybody enjoyed the conversation. If you have a bar and you want us there, put a contact.
Felicia Holder, 7694590. Satish Ramsaran and David Welch did amazing work tonight putting the show together. They are telling me something behind that camera.
They're
God,
telling you, you wrap up the camera.
I wrap up the camera. Thank all of you who are going to view the finished product. As Stephan says, if you have facilities, a space, and a place you want to invite Rum Shop Talk, contact Felicia Holder at 7694590. We want to move this throughout the length and breadth of Trinidad and
Tobago.
see you soon.